Hello there, guys, and welcome back to my channel. And welcome back to Misery FC. As Pice just told me off air, should be used to it by now. Weirdly, I'm still not. It just wasn't fun. It just wasn't fun in any way. Literally, we had that Joao Felix chance super early on, and after that, it was just a bunch of misery, really. And I'm really disappointed. Now we'll talk about Lampard as well, but I'm not necessarily disappointed in Lampard because I'm like, well, he did the formation that I asked from him. I personally don't think the formation was an issue, but I have a serious question. Where was the fight? Like, it just felt like from the get-go or after that Felix chance, none of the players believed in it. Like, and I understand maybe why they wouldn't, but because, I mean, they're also realistic, I assume, but you got to fight, man. You got to try. Like, if you're the underdog, and I mean, we know better than anybody else that, you know, how it works when you are the underdog. When you are the underdog, you need to outwork the opponent. You need to be first to every second ball. You need to, like, try your flipping hardest in every single moment you can. And I just don't think they did that. I just don't think they did. I'll be perfectly honest. Now, maybe some of these players, whether it's Reece James, Thiago Silva, Kante, aren't fully fit. But neither were David Luiz and Gary Cahill in Munich. I know that's a final, not a quarterfinal, I understand. But still, that's my biggest disappointment today. That it just didn't feel like we tried hard enough. And like I say, we already knew we wouldn't be as good as Real Madrid. We knew that going into the game. But no matter what who the manager is, like Pi said to me with the whole motivation of Lampard thing, because I said, are we sure he will do that? We'll get into that in a second. But even aside from whether he does or not, this is a Champions League quarterfinal. I don't even think it should need the manager to motivate the team. It's a Champions League quarterfinal. We're not talking about 12-year-olds. We're not talking about 15-year-old pubescent teenagers. We're talking about grown men. These are grown men whose lifelong dream it was to be professional footballers. And then they play in the Champions League quarterfinal and they don't turn up. Like, the best thing about tonight is arguably the result. Like, 2-0 is kind of game over, but like, if things were to go batshit crazy next week, there is a teeny tiny chance. Did we play like a 2-0? No, honestly. I mean, Mount nearly got us back into it. Imagine if Mount scores that goal at the end and we're 2-1. We're laughing our way to the bank, man. Because we didn't play like that. Like, we didn't really defend properly. We didn't really press properly. I mean, we didn't press at all, but also in a midfield press. We didn't do that properly. We didn't shift across the pitch as a team properly. We just randomly individuals started sprinting from the shape. And then there was a gap. And oh, shock, Real Madrid are half decent at football and they can see that gap. Oh, wow. Who would have thought? I mean, first goal, Reece James gives the ball away stupidly. Our entire team is on the right-hand side. No idea why Kovacic was over there. I have no idea. I have no idea why he was there. By the time he managed to sprint back to the other side, Carvajal, their right back, turns into prime Toni Kroos, and the creative genius that, Chelsea has never seen before, really, plays a wonder chip ball, and then we go from there. And the second one, Cucurella just comes on for Koulibaly. He decides, okay, yes, we're defending a 1-0 loss here because we just need to somehow stay in the game. And then he just presses the guy, but not properly. You either win the ball or you foul him. You can't just get caught in no man's land. Chile has to come back, gets the red card, and then we're dead. Like, we were dead. We were dead at the red card. Like, let's be honest. Like, even for next week, we're kind of dead because of Chile's red card. And I personally, I know, Pice, I'm not sure if it was just in the moment or whatever, but you were quite harsh on Chile in your tweet reaction to it. Obviously, I'll give you a chance to speak about it in a second. I don't even, like, sure, he can just let him go and hope Kepa saves it. Sure. Maybe that would have been better, but I also understand from his perspective why he's like, okay, 1-0, we stand, like, is it also in a way harsh because he just touches him? But obviously he's last man, so I understand it needs to be a red card. I get it, but it still feels a bit harsh to me. Obviously, I'm a Chelsea fan, so I would say that, I guess. But yeah, the red card killed it. And then it's a Champions League quarterfinal. We're asleep for a corner. Like, why? Like, the players, that there were no one even looked like, shit, I was supposed to be there. So, like, I'm questioning who was supposed to be there? Did no one of the sidelines tell the players who should be defending the box just outside the box after we were a man down? Did no one tell them that? Because that's what it felt like. Because not one of those players looked like, shit, I should have been there. And the other players also didn't look at one individual like, why weren't you there? So, like, you can defend a set piece with 10 men, people. Like, that's a thing. So, my God, like I say, it's just depressing. Bertram, I'll start with you. You're usually one of my most optimistic guests, but now it's in hindsight rather than, beforehand. So it's probably difficult to be optimistic now, but what do you think about this one, bro?
Well, it's quite tough, to be honest. I think looking on the bright side, it wasn't 3-0. I think that would have been, insurmountable. But I think when we look at the performance, we look at the Chile red card, it's gonna be quite difficult. I think the most ejecting thing is it was almost as if Real didn't have to be nearly as good as they can be to beat us. It didn't feel like one of their vintage performances like last year when they had to step up. Modric had to step up to make that assist to make sure that they, went through in the end. I think it's important to remember the fact that, we as a club have been quite successful over, what's it now, almost 20 years we've had. And we've won things, we've seen things, we've played games that not many teams get to play. So to be this deep down, even in the Champions League quarterfinal, is it's something not to cherish, but to accept, because I think we will move on. I still believe in the project, I still believe in the owners, but I think today was an example of no one caring. I thought we saw that today. I think no one really cared. The game plan wasn't really there.
You think it's caring or believing?
I think it's caring almost. I think you saw most people with their heads down. You even came in at 0-0. You'd expect to see some fight. And I thought you touched upon it earlier as well. This has been their dream for most of the years. How many of, just take the traveling fans, for example, would give almost anything they had to stand on that pitch and hear that anthem before the game went out. So I think today was a showing of the fact that I think most of our players are either young, finish, or need to be sold. So I think right now we're seeing a season that just needs to be ended. I think we're seeing players who don't really care, and I think why should they? Almost, if you look at it, who are they looking at on the bench? They're looking at Frank Lampard. The most respect I can give to anyone as a football player, but as a manager, what are we going to do when we go out next week? So I think it's important for us to just look ahead to next season now and maybe hope and see what we can salvage from on Tuesday. But for the season, it's looking bleak. Long term, I still believe.
Fair enough. I'm not sure if I'm fully in agreement whether it's caring. I think it was today more of a case of believing. And I don't want to sit here and be a smart ass about it, because I also wasn't like, nah, Lampard is the wrong choice when we did that stream. Now, I had my reservations and I made those clear. And I still stand by what I said yesterday, that I would have believed in it more if we still had Potter in charge. And I also think the game would have gone better if we still had Potter in charge. I'm not saying we necessarily would have had a better result, but I think we would have played more, we would have tried harder. Purely because, not because Lampard does anything not good enough necessarily, but do you really think the players are going to believe in it? You had Tuchel, you sacked him. You bring in Potter because he's this new long-term project. And you tell, I assume, the squad as well, and the media and the public, we believe in it, we're back it. Sack it straight after an international break. We're like, really? Straight after an international break? Is that the smartest thing to do? In a game where I know we lost, but we actually played well and individual mistakes cost us. So that was one of the least Potter issue games where they decided to sack him then. And then you have Nagelsmann available. Okay, we learned apparently he doesn't want the job until the summer. Sure. But then you replace him with Lampard. And Bruno for one game. You didn't even bring Lampard in quickly enough to take over straight from Potter. You needed one other interim manager to take over one game in which we actually played well but couldn't score. And then Lampard comes in and we're dreadful in 2 games in a row. At some point, when you have the fourth, in a way, first team manager, obviously Bruno was only interim in that sense for one game. But in the sense, the fourth manager of the season, do I blame the players for not believing in it? Like, and I said this at the time, 13 players that are here right now were here when Lampard was sacked. But not even that. The rest of the squad all saw him get sacked at Everton. Are you going to believe you're going to beat Real Madrid if your manager is the guy that Everton, who were in the relegation zone, just sacked? I don't think so. Now, would they have believed with Potter? No, maybe not. But they would have at least had that, like, well, you know, we did something good against Dortmund in mind, at least. Of course, Real Madrid is a whole different animal to Dortmund. But at least you would have had that positive thing in mind. Now with with Lampard, what positive thing did they have in mind? What thing to grasp any sort of belief in did we have? None. And yeah, Pice, do you think it's a lack of caring or do you think it's a lack of believing? Or maybe a bit of both. But what's your general consensus about today? And ladies and gentlemen, by the way, if you're here, appreciate you. Let's just try to make each other feel a bit better. All right, let's do that. I've seen a few super chats already. We will get to those. Thank you, Richard, again. And QT, I think it was as well. We'll get to those in a minute. Pice, what do you think?
It's very difficult. I think it's probably a bit of both. I mean, there's some players out there, like when you watch them, you think they don't care. I also think they don't really, like, there was a lot of moments in the game, like when we had the ball, every time we got on the ball, I felt like they didn't really know what to do, like what we were supposed to do to actually get into their box, even to get past the halfway line. Like, Felix and Sterling weren't trying, but they were also so isolated. Like, there was a time in the second half where Sterling got the ball. He was up against 5 defenders. Like, I felt like we had literally no... It's like we just didn't try to score. Like, the only real... Like, we started off well, but that was even off a counter-attack, right? So it was just a little ball in behind. We nicked it off them. But just, like, in terms of us in possession, I felt like we had no clue what the game plan was. It was just, like... just make it up as you go along type thing. And unfortunately, that is what you get with a coach like Lampard. Yeah, I don't know if it would have been any better with Potter, to be honest. But yeah, I don't really know what to say. I mean, it's just baffling how, like, you can turn up at the Bernabeu and just, you know, put in that little effort. Like, Mason Mount came on and was like the most caring player out of all our team. And
honestly, I loved it when he kicked the shit out of Carvajal's shin. I loved it.
Yeah, like, you can just tell, like, the difference, and, like, you know, it's hard to say.
Rhys James spent all game complaining, honestly.
Rhys James was awful. I don't know what's happened to him, but he was awful.
Yeah.
Tonight, I don't know what happened to him. But yeah, I mean, there's not really much to say. I don't even think Madrid played well either. They didn't really get out of first gear, to be honest with you, and they still managed to beat us 2-0. As you can see, we're setting records again for the wrong reasons, and yeah, we're fucked. Like, if they can't get up for this game, then what's Brighton going to be like at the weekend? What's Arsenal going to be like? What's the point? Like, it's just,
is Lampard going to play all? Like, is he going to play at Lewis Hall, Chukwuemeka? Chukwuemeka didn't even get to come to Madrid.
I literally tweeted this out. I said, why not? At this point in the season, play players that have any ounce of care for this club. I don't care who it is. Bro, play fucking Slanina in goal. I don't care. We're not, like, the highest we could finish is like 8th or 9th. Like, we're not getting the results anyway. So just play players that actually fucking care and want to play, because it just seems like these lot just don't. They're just, you know, strolling around. They just going through the motions, and it's just, it's utterly pathetic. And yeah, the ones that try and defend this are honestly even worse. Like, some of the punditry today on BT Sport was just an absolute joke. Honestly, I love I love Joe Cole, but, like, fucking hell, like, honestly, some of the stuff he was saying, like, you know, Lampard
at the same time, though, bro, even though I haven't heard what he said, the rest of the media shit on us so hard. Like, it was a Sun report, right? The whole James Corden telling Boehly to hire Lampard, and every single one jumped on it. Every broadcasting station, every newspaper, every Twitter account, every troll account, everyone jumped on it. So as much as he might have been waffling, like I told you, I obviously haven't heard it. From the sounds of things, at least he wasn't just willing to criticize it. I'm like, you know what?
Should
At least
criticise it. It's one of
he
the worst
doesn't want to,
performances.
it's his club still, and he's also aware that everyone else is shitting on us. What good does it do if Joe Cole jumps on the bandwagon as well? But
I think
I
it's
still
just
get it.
being honest and truthful, bro. I think you've got to call a spade and just say the truth.
No,
not-
I agree with you. No, absolutely. But look at us here, right? Like, we're all deflated. And we only sat here with other Chelsea fans. Joe Cole is sat there probably getting taken the piss out of by whoever else was on the panel. But yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, I brought it up on screen. That is a damning stats. Not only are we in a Premier League season with 29 goals in 30 games now, which is the worst since 1924 or 5, whatever it was. We have now, for the first time in 30 years, failed to score in 4 consecutive matches. 4 consecutive matches we haven't scored in. You know how bad that is? Even fucking Derby County, when they scored 11 points in the Premier League, did they have 4 games without a goal? I mean, maybe. But they're the worst team in Premier League history. So, it's rough, man. It's so rough. Basha, I'll bring it back to you. Let me bring the lineup up on screen as well. Obviously, you weren't on the preview yesterday. Would you have gone with, shape-wise, would you have gone with this? I don't think the tactics were the issue today. I just think if the players don't believe, if the players don't try hard enough, it never really mattered what formation we played, to be honest. We could have just got spanked harder. But I don't think we would have succeeded in any formation. Like, in terms of being super threatening, scoring. I don't think that would have happened no matter what we did, if I'm being perfectly honest.
Yeah, if I'm honest, I was happy with the 3 back. Having watched the game, I think the 3 in midfield maybe was quite defensive. I think Kovacic didn't play well today. I think, we had those before they scored their first goal. I thought we played decently, to be fair. I thought we sat deep. We held them from like large chances, and we did create like 1 or 2 chances. Felix had that one where if he had a bit more speed, he would have been through, which I think was much of the game plan. But I think as the game evolved, maybe at halftime, I would have switched up to a 3-4-3 maybe, because I think we did need the support. I think a player like Mount should have come on. To be honest, I thought you saw the impact he had. But formation-wise, I think if it's a 5-3-2 or a 3-4-3, I think it didn't make that much of a difference. I can respect the fact that, wanting to play on the counterattack and whatnot, but the lack of offensive output we had, throughout the game today, I don't really think justifies it, because we still lost by 2 goals. But I think, as the game went on, it is what it is.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I guess so. I guess I don't even really know, man. I don't even really know where exactly I sit in my mind right now. Before we talk about some more of the players and maybe Lampard as well in a second, and I'll take it to Pies. Let me get through these super chats. Obviously, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to support the channel, if you want to make sure I see your message and we talk about whatever you have to say, do use the super chat function, because otherwise I can't see every chat message, can I? QG says, I'm still waiting for the vibes I heard fans say Lampard would bring. 2 losses and looking the next games. I don't know where we get a win. Boehly is a disgrace. Pice, I'll let you go. First the Lampard bit, then the Boehly bit. Thoughts?
I mean, I can't lie. I'm kind of getting bored with all this Boehly hate lately. Like I understand Lampard is, I totally understand Graham Potter was the wrong appointment. I totally understand maybe he should have sacked him earlier. But what is to say that genuinely?
If he
What is
sacked
to
him
say?
earlier, we would have had Lampard for Dortmund and gone knocked out there already.
I mean, but genuinely, hand on heart, actually deep it. What is to say a Nagelsmann or an Enrique come in right now and actually change things? Because all I've been hearing all week and just constantly since Lampard came in is, we need Enrique, we need Nagelsmann. Do you really want them coming into this shit show right now? Especially someone like Enrique who plays a certain way. He needs to coach that into them.
I agree on that on Enrique, actually.
Yeah, it's just I just think Boehly's the easy target. I don't know, man. He's not done things, great, but in terms of the managerial stuff, you could say it's been awful. But what is to say, even if we did get a Nagelsmann and Enrique, they would, win tonight? It's just
No,
It's a
no,
lazy take in my
there is no
opinion.
way of saying that. But what I do think, if we had the next permanent manager in charge already, there would have been more fight. No, and again, I don't want to even say that as necessarily a negative to Lampard. It's almost like in a different way, but a little bit like Potter. I think Lampard in this role of until the end of the season was just always set up to fail, because why would the players ever get belief with a manager that they have for 7 weeks? Like, you know?
It's Lampard though, man. Like, do they not have any shame? Like, I just don't get it. I don't know what's going wrong, but like tonight, I said it to you off there. Like, I got the same vibes as when we played Spurs away. Like, it was just I just expected some fight. I expected some, like the second ball, winning duels, quick passing. It was literally just like it was like less than a training game intensity from us, like genuinely. And part of it I do believe is a little bit tactics as well, because I think maybe if we had a 3-4-3, I think the lack of width was horrendous tonight. And the problem is that every time we went forward, tried to use the wing backs with James and Chilwell, James particularly could not get back. My goodness, like it was just like every time we tried to push forward, we got caught on the break. But every time we tried to sit defensively and had the two up front, we didn't have any there was no means to get forward. Like it was just such a. I honestly. 3-5-2, I've advocated for it on several occasions. I don't think once it's ever worked out. I advocated.
Well, it did last year. We played a 3-5-2 when we won 3-2 here, but obviously different manager and different squad and everything.
Did we? I thought that was a 3-4-3, to be honest.
But who else would have?
I thought it was Werner up front, Havertz,
no, I think
and then
played a flat 3. I'm pretty sure, because I told Clutch this, and obviously he was like, "Nah, that's not true." And then he checked, and even Clutch was like, "Oh."
Well, how was Werner like?
I think Werner and Havertz was the front two.
Werner was so wide though; he was like a left winger tonight. It was
because Werner, innit? He loves his left wing.
That's what I mean.
But Felix this is another thing I don't understand. Why did Sterling start on the right again? Like, if he's more comfortable on that, I mean, maybe he isn't. Would it have mattered, to be honest, on that part? I don't think so. Yeah, it's a tough one. I see what you're saying with Boehly. What I don't like, obviously, he's the face of it, but I think people need to understand it's not everything that happens. It's just purely Boehly. If anything, he has less to say than Iqbali anyway. But I agree with what you're saying. Obviously, he screwed up a lot of things. Absolutely. I think the most unnecessary was the ridiculous spending in January, if I'm honest. Like, some of them made sense. But some others where I'm like, now we're just under so much pressure to sell players so quickly. We have to sell them for more drastically undervalued than we would have had to otherwise. I find those decisions even arguably worse than the whole manager thing. Well, maybe not worse, but equally as bad at least. It just... Yeah, it's difficult because at the same time, I'm like, yeah, this was bad today, but I'm like, it's a Champions League quarterfinal. I don't think there's any shame in losing a Champions League quarterfinal. What disappointed me so much, it's just that they didn't try, and like that's the hard one for me. Bertram, what's your reaction to the super chat?
Well, I wanted to get on the bully talk as well. I think most of the things I've seen from them point towards the fact that they are serious owners. The fact that they don't take the most of that. They hired someone like Vivell and Laurenz and Stewart to take care of the sporting decisions, which it's something we've advocated for a long time. But the thing is, I think hiring and firing Potter, you think of it what you want. I think firing Tuchel, I will stand by this to the day. And I think I still think it was the right decision in the end. Might get a lot of slack for that, but I still think we have problems. I still think we played terribly for the start of the season. But I think the way we're going about this, I would much rather have us suffering for these 10 games, the last 10 games of the season where we have nothing to play for, than suffer even more. The results we've had this season, we've been building up to it since, maybe even since 2015, when some of these players were signed. I think the hiring and firing of managers, buying different system players for different managers, we were always destined to end up in this position. I think it's time. It's like when you break your arm. Sometimes if the best break you can get for a bone is if it breaks cleanly. I think, this is our clean slate. I think in the summer, clear out as many players as we can, make sure the process to find the right manager is thorough, so that we get, if it is Enrique, if it is Nagelsmann, we make sure that it's the right appointment, so that we don't have to go through this again, so we can build something. Look at what Ten Hag's done for United for even 1 year with the players they have. They're not as good as they sometimes play, but he's come in, instilled the system, instilled some sense of respect. You saw almost the same situation last season when they had Ragnick. Someone who came in on an interim basis, who had no respect, and look how it's been turned around. So I think the fact is, it does look, even the Danish commentators, they roasted us today, which was terrible to hear. But it might be a circus until the end of the season. I'm fine with that. But just make sure that from here on out, things are being done properly. That's all I have to say about that.
There you go. No, fair enough. It's I would be a little bit careful with the whole, like, we need someone like Ten Hag, because if Ten Hag came in our situation, having just changed ownership, and with the summer window we had, signing some players for Tuchel in Aubameyang and Zakaria. Well, Tuchel didn't even know Zakaria was coming, I think. So let's mainly name Aubameyang and maybe a couple others like a Sterling or Koulibaly or whatever. And then taking over with the ownership change, with the squad, and then the injuries. Like, I don't think whether it's Ten Hag or flipping Pep Guardiola himself, I don't think this season would have gone well. Now, would it have been better than under Potter? Sure, absolutely. But good that we would have been happy with it? I don't think so.
No,
go on.
Oh, if I can quickly, I would respect them. I still think, when you look at United, you don't doubt who's in charge, even from, press conferences, team selection, stuff like that. That's just what I'm going for. Right now, you don't really know who's in charge. You didn't really know who's in charge under Potter. So I think that's just what I was going for. Not, him specifically, or his type even, but just someone, a figurehead to be the boss in a sense.
Yeah, no, I hear that. Aaron has joined us. You can't currently see him because he's hidden by QT Super Chat. But because Richard has waited so long with his $20 Super Chat, I will get to that first. Aaron, depending on what he says, I haven't read it yet. I might bring you in on that one. Richard says, just amuses me how people blaming players. Meanwhile, we always seem to buy players just to buy them. We have a lot of players that can dribble, but none that can score. Lots of wingers, yet play wing backs. Yeah, no, I mean, you say a lot of players that can dribble. None of them look like they could dribble today. That's for damn sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree necessarily. On the other hand, I'm like, I do, because, you buy players. Enzo Fernandez, when he joined us, he didn't expect to have Frank Lampard in charge of him for a Champions League quarterfinal this season, did he? Or Joao Felix. Joao Felix certainly didn't want to play the way he did at Atletico today. So as much as I was also saying, like, really, is it like, obviously your expert was like, Felix is the guy that shouldn't play. And now in hindsight, I'm like, he was right. But, I still think that was the right way to go about it. Maybe Felix shouldn't have played, but I still think that was the only way to go into this game. It's a tough one. He added another super chat, another $10. Appreciate it very much. He says, our best attacking threats and players are all wingers or number 8s, but we constantly play a system that doesn't use wingers or 8s, therefore negating what attack we could have. No, I could not agree with this sentiment. Actually, this is so spot on. Other than Joao Felix, they're all wingers or 8s. Absolutely. Like, I said this yesterday, we have 17 8s at the club, but not 1 6. People were having a go at Enzo. You know how much better we would have been if Jorginho was here? I know people will hate me for saying this and laugh at me or whatever. And not because Jorginho is better than Enzo, but because Jorginho actually knows what to do in this role. Enzo in his whole life hasn't played in a 3-5-2 central midfield, most defensive of the three. He's never played that in his life. Because why would he? He was at one of Argentina's best clubs until now, won the World Cup with Argentina, and now come to Chelsea Football Club. Of course, that's not his game. Alex said it yesterday. He would have played Zakaria as the deepest guy in Enzo instead of Kovacic. Would that have been so much better? I don't know. But I most certainly know that Jorginho would have been better at this, in this type of game. You never could keep possession. How often did you see that when we had Jorginho? How often did that happen when we couldn't keep possession? Didn't happen very often. And I don't even want to sit here and blame it all. Oh, Jorginho's gone. Obviously, that wouldn't have necessarily changed the result. I just think there would have been certain things that absolutely would have looked better. Aaron, I'll bring you in. Share your thoughts, man. I mean, me and Bertram and Pies were talking about earlier. Was it what angered you the most today? Did the players feel like they didn't care? For me, it's more like that they just didn't believe in it. And you could see that they didn't believe in it. Or is it not caring? Or do you put it on like the managerial situation? Like what's the worst thing about today for you?
Weak, spineless, pathetic, embarrassing. Alex Barker is a better football manager than Frank Lampard. Yeah, it was just dog shit all round.
Yeah, no.
And yeah, everything. Felix shouldn't have played. It was fucking dreadful. Zakaria probably would have been better to play as a 6 because he would have had a little bit more defensive stability. Koulibaly getting injured and Cucurella going off, and then we conceded not long after. Not a coincidence there. He got fucking roasted. And then Chilwell with the bozo moment, pulling him down, meaning he's gone for the second leg. So if we weren't fucked before the second goal, we're fucked now. But yeah, Kepa, flappy hands, couldn't save a ball to save his fucking life. Players didn't give a shit. They didn't know what they were doing either. I will not have anyone tell me otherwise that they didn't give a shit because none of them tried other than Kante. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know what else there is to say other than that was fucking pathetic.
It was pathetic. That is most certainly true. My days. Ellie, appreciate the super chat. He says Sterling only cares about money. I think it's a bit harsh to pick out Sterling as an individual. Certainly think Sterling tried harder than Felix did. But none of them were good. None of them, other than maybe Kante. And even Kante certainly wasn't anywhere near as good as he was against Liverpool. It wasn't bad, but he wasn't anywhere near as good against Liverpool. I genuinely thought Koulibaly was probably one of our best players until he got injured. As crazy as that sounds. Obviously, Thiago Silva did a good job, but I felt like the central centre-back didn't really have to do that much, other than obviously his crazy goal line clearance, I'm aware. Even though that wasn't necessarily going in, it would have been a question, does the other Madrid player get to it? But, I mean, that summarised our season. Koulibaly's been awful for most of the season, plays a pretty decent game for once, and gets injured. The guy that comes on instead of him makes a mistake, which gets Chilwell then sent off. And then we were done. And then we were just done. You know what? Let's get into... We'll talk about Lampard at the end anyway. So let's get into Kepa. Price, I'll start with you. What do you think? First goal, second goal? How much is he to blame for either of those? And what would you rate him?
The second goal was absolutely abysmal. I don't know how the fuck he didn't say that. I'm fed up with this guy's crisp hand wrists. He's fucking shit. I can't stand him, honestly. I held back because he was playing well, but honestly, this guy, I don't even care, man. I've got you can call it an agenda if you want. This guy is not good enough to be our number one. He's honestly, God, this guy's been on fraud watch for us for years, and people, I don't know why he has so many fanboys. I don't know, but yeah, no, it's terrible. The second goal, I don't know how he saved it. It's not even a powerful shot. It's not even a good shot from Asensio. It's a simple save.
It's because he didn't see it, right? Because it went through.
It's not. Come on, bro. He should say that.
I agree. He should say it, but that's why he didn't.
The first goal, I mean, I think he should be doing better as well, personally. Yeah, he was. I think he was crap tonight. I give him. I don't even know. Does he even get a rating? I mean, he cost us, so.
He needs a rating, I think.
2. Give him a 2.
All right. Aaron, what about you? How much of the blame does he get for both of the goals? And what rating would you give him?
We'll get the rating out of the way. 0. First goal, I don't blame him because I don't think there's much he could have done in terms of Vinicius' flick. With one,
and
he should never.
0 seems a bit harsh though. If you don't blame him. No.
0. The first one is not his fault. Vinicius should never have been able to even get a touch on that ball. There's 3 defenders around him. It's pathetic defending. He couldn't do much in terms of parrying it out, and then Benzema's just there. Second one, absolutely fucking dreadful. Flapping his hands, and Benzema almost got a third. He should be catching that cross. He flaps at it. Benzema's a free header. I don't know how the fuck he put it over.
Fucking hell, I even forgot about that one. Yeah, I'm giving him a 0. Fuck that.
Yep.
I forgot about that.
Just thought I'd quickly remind you because he's fucking pathetic. And yeah, it's time to get gone in the summer. 0. Thank you for your services. Get the fuck out.
Fairs. I'll get to Bertrand next then. How much blame do you give him for both goals? And what rating would you give him?
I think he couldn't do much about the first goal. I don't know, the second goal. The thing is about Kepa, I thought other than, it's easy to say other than the goals he played well. I think, I'm quite confident whenever he builds out of the back. If I'm trying to find any positives, I think his handling's been quite good. But for the goal, I think, when looking at goalkeepers, you look between, or you look for, it's not like a curious mistake where it goes through his hands. If I'm honest, maybe he didn't see it, but if you want to be Chelsea's number one goalkeeper in, you like a goalie like Czech or Courtois when we had him would have saved that. So like Pai said, he's just not good enough to be our starting goalkeeper. And I think, to be honest, it has something to do with hype. While I was watching our game, whilst we were getting picked apart, I was watching the Milan game as well. They had Manyang, and he saved everything. I think he was their man of the match as well. It's at stages like this when we're down and out. You need a good goalkeeper. So just as well as we need a 9, I think we need a goalie as well. So I'd give him like a 1, maybe a 0.
Which one do you want to go for?
I'll give him a 0. Let's let's move on from Kepa.
Fair enough. I mean, from my end, for the first goal, I think maybe goalies don't do this anymore. I feel like back in the day they used to do this more. Well, I think his best chance of doing anything about the goal was flying out for the chip. I think that would have been his best chance because he could have done that, I think. I think what happened after, because my initial reaction was like, what's Kepa doing? But, if you watch it back, I think he kind of expected Vinicius to shoot directly, but obviously Vinicius tried to lay it off, which actually didn't work. So he kind of went for goal, but didn't. And then Kepa got a hand on it, and then obviously Benzema puts it in the second one. Yes, I think the vision is obviously somewhat blocked by Fofana, and it goes through Fofana's legs. I think it even takes a small deflection from Fofana. Otherwise, it might even go wide or hit the post. But Kepa, as much of a hand as he had on it, he just has to save it. And there's just nothing around it. And whether it's like, what annoys me is like, I'm in full agreement that Kepa isn't good enough to be our number one. But what annoys me is the idea that Mendy is, because he's not. And that's the part that annoys me. Because
they can both be sold. Fuck them both.
Yeah. Well,
Mendy's dropped off.
Maybe wouldn't have worded it quite as harshly myself, but
yeah.
in a sense, I agree. But that's the thing that I mean, though, because how many people that have seen the shot, you lot wanted to start Kepa over Mendy. Did you forget why we lost last year's game against Madrid? Did you forget that was Mendy's fault?
Facts. Kante
Way
gave the
more
ball
than
away.
Kepa fucked up today. I'm just saying, like all this, like, oh, why didn't you play Mendy? Yeah, and then what? He hasn't played since what? Since October. Well, I guess since the World Cup. He hasn't played since the World Cup. And you just think you're gonna play him and he's gonna be amazing. The last time you saw him play was dreadful. So yeah. Anyway, what rating would I have given him? I don't know, probably like a 2 or 3 or something. So bring it back up to a 1, but hey, here it is. Let's get to these defenders then. So let's start with Koulibaly. His best moment is what injured his hamstring. Unfortunately, he had a few actually very positive in terms of, aggressive tackles where he won the ball. I generally thought he did good while he was on the pitch. Don't know how good I want to say, but I actually want to give him above an average rating. I know people will probably slight me for this now, but I would probably, maybe I'd say 6.5, just because I want to give him a little bit over the 6, but I don't think he warrants the 7. Maybe I can certainly be convinced into a 6, but I genuinely thought he did good while he was on, and then it was just brilliant. I'll say that. Bertram, I'll go with you. Do you agree that he was good while he was on, or is that just me?
No, I agree. I'd give him. What would I give? I would give him over a 6. I think 6.5 is pretty decent. Did he have any outstanding mistakes? I don't think he did, other than maybe being feeling shaky while playing out. I think he had that one dodgy moment with Rodrigo where he almost let him in, but ended up clearing up for his mistake and getting injured in the same move. I think a 6.5 is fair. I think over average. I think, to be honest, our defenders, or at least our center backs today, were maybe except Cucurella, were acceptable, to be honest. So I think a 6.5, just a little bit above average rating would be acceptable here.
Okay. Aaron, do you agree with that, or are you in disagreement and would give something drastically lower?
No, I'd go even higher. I'd go 7. I think he was the best player on the pitch. It's a shame he got injured, because once he got injured, that curly-haired fucking bozo came on and cost us the red card for Chilwell. So yeah, it's a shame because he was doing very well, actually. I do think he was the best out of the back line, and yeah, it's just a shame he got injured. It's surprising because I don't like him one bit, but when he performs well, you have to give him credit, and he had a good game. But so yeah, I'll just go with a 7. There's not really too much to say. He didn't really make any mistakes, so can't fault him.
Fair dues. No, fair play. I mean, hey, if you're going 7, maybe I'll go 7. But let's see what Pice says. What did you think about Koulibaly today, and what would you rate him?
I don't think he was bad, to be honest. I thought he was quite good. I probably would go for a 6 though. Not quite a 6.5. Probably go for a 6. Actually, no, I will go for a 6.5. I think he was above average, to be fair. I think he was probably one of our standout players, which doesn't say much, but he definitely didn't, he didn't get cooked in the wide areas, which I thought he would playing in this position. And just goes to show, even though he pulled his hamstring, how quick he recovered, because he got caught out of position. He recovered and, did really well there. And it's just a shame that Chilwell couldn't have at least tempted to do the same. Instead, tried to drag him down, got sent off. But yeah, so I'll go 6.5.
Fair. Obviously, what you saw today as well is we were playing much more defensive. Therefore, Koulibaly wasn't really getting dragged because Chilwell was almost all the time close to him anyway. While obviously in most games we play, the wing back is all the way up the pitch and then he will get dragged more. So I think that probably helped him and saved him to some extent, I guess. But all right, we'll give him a 6.5. Let's get to Thiago Silva then. Was subbed off at some point when the game was lost anyway, but also just not to overdo it for him. Still happy, to see him back. He was the only leader on the pitch. No one else acted like a leader. The goal line clearance was good. I'll be honest, other than the goal line clearance, I don't really remember him doing anything other than when he kind of kicked Cruz in the head. He didn't. He just kicked the ball at Cruz's head, but, high foot anyway. So other than the goal line clearance, I don't really remember that much, but that was mighty impressive because, he was in the opposition's box and the 38 and 39, whatever he is now, year old was the dude to clear it off the line, as he so often does. He's done that so many times before. Because I didn't notice him, and maybe that's harsh of me, but because I didn't notice him and because he is the central centre-back, if any one of the centre-backs is at fault for us not playing out better, it is the one in the middle, and we have to be honest with ourselves as much as we all love him. Of course, Madrid made it very difficult. So I'd probably just give him also a 6.5, maybe a 6. Now, and the clearance was good enough to give a 6.5. So I'll say 6.5. I don't think he should get higher than that, though. Pice, I'll let you go first. Do you think he deserves higher than Koulibaly? What did you make of Thiago Silva? Maybe it was just me that didn't really notice him as much. I think this is a general theme of the back three, that the central centre-back is obviously protected the most in terms of the amount of defensive work they have to do. But on the flip side, they have the most important role of the back three in terms of in possession. Defensively, we were not great, but not shocking. On the ball, we were kind of shocking. So maybe I should drag it back down to a 6, even with the goal line clearance. But I'm not sure yet. What do you think, Pice?
To be fair, the goal line clearance, it wasn't going in anyway. It was still a good clearance.
But do you think that the Madrid player would have got it? Because was Koulibaly still on, or was Cucurella already on then?
There was a guy, I don't know who it was, but he was right next to him. When I watched it back, I didn't think there was a chance it could be a goal, but maybe I'm wrong.
If you are right on that, then I'll give him a 6.
Yeah, I was going to give him a 6. I thought he did okay, but yeah, not at fault for anything, but just average. To be fair, wasn't cooked or anything, but it just frustration more lies further forward and just with Lampard. What was our plan to? I just don't understand it, man. It was such a confusing game. It was like a pre-season game, bro. I can't get around my head. It's the Bernabeu. You've been talking this game up, and then I'm so baffled, man. Honestly, I'm so baffled. Especially how we started the first 5 minutes. Like we were proper on it. I thought, bloody hell, we might get something different today. And then
same.
Nope. And then they scored the first goal. And I mean, even before they scored the first goal, it was sort of, Madrid passed it around. But especially when they scored that first goal, it was like, oh, well, fuck, that's tie over. Genuinely, when they scored, I thought game over. And it shouldn't be like that. It's just ridiculous.
At the same time, if we would have gone into next week with a 1-0, as much as it would have still been super difficult, especially after Chile got sent off, 1-0 is somehow doable. 2-0 makes it a lot more difficult. 3-0 would have been impossible. But Bertram, I'll take it to you. What would you give Thiago Silva on the day, bro?
I think your point about him, not being that noticeable is quite spot on. I didn't notice him as well, other than the goal line clearance. So I think I'd give him a 6.5 as well. I think I'd give him the same rating as Koulibaly. Kept his cool throughout the game. Didn't really make any mistakes, seeing as we didn't recognize him that much. So I think just box standard solid performance from Thiago Silva, I suppose. So I think I'd give him a 6.5. He wasn't my center back man of the match. We'll get to him after.
Yeah. All right. A 6.5 from Miriam. Then Aaron, finish it off. Do we need a poll, or you're gonna go for a 6 or lower?
I think the fact that he was given the same rating as Koulibaly by some of you is criminal. I'm not even joking. We literally, when we were on Koulibaly, we were saying, he was good, he was this, he was that. We then said we barely noticed Silva, and somehow he got the same rating. I don't understand that, but I'd go for the 6. I didn't notice him much at all, other than the clearance. For the clearance, the Madrid player was running in, but he was already sort of on the goal line and was in the goal, so he wouldn't have got to the ball anyway. But Silva doesn't know that.
But which Chelsea player are you guys that sure that the Chelsea player would have cleared it before the Madrid player would have gotten back to it? That's what I'm not sure about.
Oh yeah, definitely. Okay. So
I'll have to watch it back.
I'd go for the 6, but even then, I don't really take the clearance away from Silva because he's not to know that. So the fact that he was able to get on the ball and actually clear it is still very good from him. But other than that, there wasn't too much to really talk about. So just 6 is fine.
Fair. All right, we lost the game, and he let his runner go for the first goal. This is partly true. It was kind of Thiago Silva's. It was obviously Vinicius was between Thiago and Fofana, but then Vinicius is the winger, so isn't it more Fofana's man than it is Thiago Silva's? Gary, given it the large one in the chat, it's always easy. Put your ratings down. Do you know what I mean? Put your ratings down, because what would you do if we lose 7-0? I'm just saying. But yeah, I agree, Lewis. But big up yourself. I assume your stream is now, so I appreciate the raid very much. I'm not sure if I missed it. Welcome, everybody. Again, subscribe if you haven't already. Please hit the like button. That would be massively appreciated. Cheer us up a little bit. All right. Thiago Silva.
Sorry, this quote better not be true. Lampard apparently said, "We didn't realise Real Madrid were that good." Bro, they didn't even get out of first fucking gear.
What did he say that?
Apparently, some Real Madrid accounts posted it with loads of followers. I beg he did not say that. Oh my God, man. Fucking hell. Jesus
Bring Bruno back. Bring Bruno back.
I don't think he said that, because I see a different quote from him here. He says the door is still open, but we have to kick it open. We have to believe it is possible. Yeah, you do that, and let's see if we can figure that one out. All right, Thiago Silva on a 6. Bertram, just because I know you need to head off in a minute, let's go with Fofana first. Fofana is tough to judge today. Now, number one, he got himself booked after less than 5 minutes, which obviously made his whole rest of the night a lot more difficult. And honestly, getting booked and playing in the way he did after, actually, I think with that in mind, I actually think he played well. What's so difficult is I rate Vinicius Jr. so highly. I'm not sure if everyone rates him as highly as I do, but I rate, the guy is just mental to me. He is what we hope Mudryk will ever become, and he probably won't. Literally. He has pace that isn't far off Mudryk's, but added to that Brazilian flair and touch and technique and vision and just everything. The guy's just so good. Maybe Fofana could have given away a penalty. I think he got the ball, but while I was watching it, they were saying maybe it could have been a penalty. I don't know. I thought he got the ball. But he obviously got past a few times by Vinicius, but I'm like, who doesn't? Where it's yes, I want to be critical of defenders, but some players you just can't stop always. And so that's why I'm not really sure. If I was purely basing it, you let Vinicius by you too many times. I should probably give him like a 5, maybe even less. But because it's also Vinicius, I'm gonna give him a 5. But maybe you could go lower if you want, maybe 5.5. But I still think against Vinicius, it's just so difficult. It's just so difficult. So I think, especially getting booked after less than 5 minutes, with the way he did for the rest of the game, I think he did okay. That one driving run, I'm like, he at least flipping tried. What it pissed me off though, and they never showed it on TV properly, because obviously we conceded that second goal from a corner, and the ball was kind of flying through the air, and I thought it would bounce and it had to spin to stay in play. But the next thing we knew, they showed a replay and then they played the corner goal. And then they tried to show a replay of how the ball went out, but then they cut away from that too. So I have no idea if he shouldn't have done better in keeping that ball on the pitch. I don't know. I never got to see it. But yeah, but Bertrand, what is your thoughts on Fofana, and how would you rate him?
Well, to be honest, I think he was for me the best defender we had on the pitch. But you giving him a 5 is almost shook me there. I think getting the yellow card that early, I don't know if it was harsh. It was like 2 minutes in. I think it showed some maturity throughout the game. I thought, especially in the first half, you had Vinicius pretty locked up, and when the second half went on, even Reece James was on toe. So I personally give him like a 7. I thought it showed maturity, and I've been really impressed with him so far. He's been one of the shining lights this season, even though he hasn't played that much through injury. I think. Don't you remember he had the penalty call as well? Was a brilliant challenge. He had one as well where Kepa picked it up. I think. Especially right after the goal, when we were pressed like hard for like 10 minutes, I think he stepped up and showed character. So I think playing against one of the best attackers in the world right now on a yellow card for almost 90 minutes, I think that deserves a good rating. So for me, I'd give him a 7.
Okay, I do agree. Actually, now that I think about it, I think in the second half he actually did improve. I do think he did struggle in the first half, and once first Vinicius made Reece look silly. And then I still think Fofana could have done more about Vinicius, and thankfully didn't do anything about it. Maybe I'll push mine to a 5.5. Maybe you're right. A 5 is harsh. I won't go as high as you, but fair enough. Bertram, obviously, if you want to stick around for the other guys, given their centre back rating, you can. Otherwise, good night. You need to get up at 4:30 in the morning. I'm baffled that you're even here, if I'm honest, bro. But
thank you, Harry, man. I can't wait to see the Chilwell rating for tomorrow. Stay safe, everyone. Like and subscribe.
I appreciate you, bro. Have a good one. We'll see you soon. Clutch will join us soon in replacement of Bertram. But Pice, do you agree at all with Bertram? But what do you think?
I thought he got absolutely cooked by Vinicius all game, to be honest. And Reece James did. I mean, he's a very good winger, but I did expect a little bit better, to be fair, from Fofana. And getting it's not like it was a harsh yellow. It's such a stupid yellow to get on early on in the game. Literally
stupid is a difficult one to say, because obviously he doesn't have to get it, but then he has to run after him. And it's very difficult to run after Vinicius because no one else.
Why do you have to knee him like that though? It's like he did like a WWE move on him. It's crazy.
Well, once he touches him there, he gets a yellow anyway because it's tactical, right? So you might as well kick him hard.
I wouldn't go as high as a 7. I mean, I also saw that he won only 3 out of 9 ground duels, which is very bad. And I just thought he just got, I don't know, man. I'd probably go for like a 5, to be honest. I don't think he was great at all.
Fair.
But I will say it didn't help him at all, though, that Reece James could not track back. He was constantly literally isolated one-on-one against Vinny. You need some help, man. Jesus Christ. He did have no help. There was one time, I think, in the game where Kante came across and he actually, tackled Vinny and it went out for a goal kick or something. And that was when Kante came and helped out. But other than that, he got no help during the game. So, yeah, I'd give him a 5.
All right, that's okay. Aaron, a 5. I pushed mine up to 5.5. Excuse me. And a 7. What would you give Fofana?
I don't know what herbs they've got in Denmark for my man, whatever he's smoking, but he's on something else, man. That brother's high on life. No wonder he's getting up at 4:30 in the morning. But yeah, Fofana, he got his pants pulled down. Vinny made him strip all game, bro. He was dog shit. Other than his driving around forwards, I thought it was fucking arse. The only reason I'm going to give him an extra point is because Reece James done fuck off to help him, so he had more work to do himself. But I'd go for like probably like a 3. I thought it was fucking shit, honestly. I haven't seen anyone make Fofana strip like that. And Reece James, but fuck me, Vinicius had his number the whole game. He's just lucky that there was points in the game. Vinicius
Except on a penalty. He did well there. Well, the not give a penalty, which was a good tackle.
He's just lucky Vinicius went over to the other side for parts of the game, because otherwise he would have got sent off for sure. We would have been down to fucking 9 men. I can guarantee that. Because
when did Vinicius go on the other side?
Yeah, there was points in the game where Vinicius was coming off the right of it.
Did he?
But he's very stupid as well to get that yellow card in the first 5 minutes, and then he's on ropes for the rest of the game. So he was lucky. He was lucky he didn't do anything stupid to get another yellow card, like any silly fouls. But yeah, I'd go for like a 3.
All right. So I guess we sat at a 6 before, pushes us down 3. So I guess probably like what, 4.5-ish. I mean, I guess the 7 is kind of as far. No, actually, leaves him at a 5 regardless. There you go. Let's do James before we do Chile. Unfortunately, usually these two are the guys that carry us. Unfortunately, I think in particular, and I actually think even with the red card, I think Reece, even more so than Chile, were one of our worst players today. Reece literally gave the ball away to cost us the first goal. Like, yeah, we can talk about cover being out of position or closing down Carvajal, sure. We can talk about Kepa, we can talk about Fofana, we can talk about Thiago Silva letting the run happen, all of those things. But fact of the matter is we had possession from the back. Reece received the ball and just passed it straight to the Madrid player. That's what he did. And that's what we conceded from. And the amount of times he gave the ball away, I haven't actually looked at the stat. Maybe I should. But the amount of time he gave the ball away today was shocking. Then now I understand he's clearly not fully fit. We're all aware of that. But my God, you just cannot act the way he did. Like, he had one good cross for Sterling, and otherwise he was just woeful in pretty much everything he did. He wasn't particularly useful defensively. He wasn't particularly useful offensively. He didn't really help us keep the ball. He didn't really look like he was trying hard. He constantly had like a moany expression on him. Every time he didn't keep the ball, he looked at someone else blaming them. And I'm like, bro, you're Reece James. Figure it out. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Let me quickly get it up. How many times he lost possession? 16 times. Not actually as bad as I thought it would be, to be honest. But his pass completion, 79% isn't exactly good either. But yeah, I would give him the 3 that Fofana got. Honestly, maybe I should even go lower. You know what? I gave Kepa a 3. I think James was far worse than Kepa was. So maybe I should even go lower than a 2. But yeah, I just think he was bad today. And it's difficult how not fit he is. And, if I knew, maybe I would speak differently. But I don't know. So I can only judge by what I see. And what I saw wasn't good. Pice, do you agree?
Yeah, apart from I'd actually give him a 0, to be honest with you. I think that was the worst Reece James performance I've seen, maybe, period. Don't
forget that Bayern game, bro. Also, Lampard in charge, funnily enough.
Bro, his stats, you don't want me to read his stats. My God, bro. He was shocking. Like, I love Reece James. Bro, he lost the ball 16 times. He got dribble past 4 times. He won 3 out of 10 ground duels. 79% pass accuracy. Bro, this is horrible. This is so bad. Dribble past 4 times when it's Reece James. I mean, come on, man. Like,
but it's also because it's Vinicius, obviously.
But he locked him up before. Like, it's
when he was fit. I think that's a big difference. But obviously, again, I don't.
Yeah, based on tonight, I'm sorry, I can't give him. I have to give him a 0. It was a horrible performance. I have to.
I mean, to be fair, you gave Kepa a 1, didn't you?
I ended up giving Kepa a 0 because Aaron reminded me of that fucking stupid thing in the. But Benzema, by the way, is an absolute sitter. Thank God, no one like if he scored that, my God, I'd be like. Yeah,
that was a poor attempt at a punt. I don't think it's a sitter for Benzema because he has to react to it, and how can he head it down because the ball is coming from above him? But yeah, there you go. It certainly got away with it, and that 3-0 certainly would have made it game over. Clutch has joined us in replacement of Bertram. Thank you for jumping in on such short notice. I appreciate you. start with Reece James, but then I'm not going to ask you about the ratings for the guys we've already gone through, but a more general assessment. But Reece, what did you make of him? What would you rate him?
I think a lot of people in the chat are roasting Pius, even though Pius is correct. Reece James was awful today. I don't know why anybody's going to say any different. It's not like we're not saying he was shit in general, but he's shit today. When you need one of your best players, arguably like your most talented player that you have, who didn't step up, who looked like he couldn't care less, who honestly was getting put on skates, and he was there to help Fofana for most of the time, and they still got shit on most of the game. So, again, you can't really use Reece's injuries as an idea because we don't know. We have no idea what's going on with Reece. But at the same time, he had a really bad game. I probably would have given him a 1, but that's about as far as I'm going to go for him.
There you go. Fair enough. Before I let Aaron speak on James, first of all, big up the Ruben Hive. But more general assessment of the game. It's just, we were talking about it earlier. I'm not sure if you heard that part already. Bertrand put in more to a lack of care. Aaron and Pius were kind of split. For me, it was just a lack of belief. To me, just maybe other than the first 5 minutes, just never felt like the team believed in it. And I'm not even purely going to blame that on Lampard, but I'm going to blame it on having an interim manager, no matter who that interim manager would have been. And if you don't play with belief going to the Bernabeu, you're never going to win. I know you think it's part to do with the formation. You know, I disagree with that, but I just don't think we could have played no matter what the formation. We could have played 10 centre-backs. We could have played 10 strikers. If you don't believe in succeeding, you're never going to succeed. That's what I think. But what's your assessment?
I mean, that is true. If you don't believe, you're never going to win. But who says... I mean, we go to the Bernabeu and we're trying to sit there and defend. These players know they're not stupid. They're not stupid. Why are we trying to defend? You think Felix wants to defend? You think Sterling wants to defend? You think they're going to buy into that idea? No, they're not going to. They want to attack. They want to come forward. James wants to go forward. Chilwell wants to go forward.
That, by the way, then they are stupid. Because I'm surely they have to be aware that we are at this moment not good enough to go toe-to-toe with Madrid.
You think they believe that? We won the Champions League 2 years ago, and did we have better players then? No, we didn't.
In 4 games, how can they possibly not?
My question is, we won the Champions League 2 years ago, but we arguably have better players, bar Rudiger, right? So what's the difference?
A better goalkeeper in terms of form, a fit Thiago Silva, a fit Reece James, you know.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, I never really believed that we were ever going to beat Real Madrid. Hoped, never believed. But I thought, you know, if we were going to beat them, we'd have to give them something they didn't see coming. Real Madrid clearly seen this coming. Clearly. That's why they put Rodrigo out there and not Valverde like they normally do. They'd seen it coming. They knew we were going to sit back. So they put their best low block breakers into the team. And what happened? We got destroyed for it. We got it wrong. That's all it is. And it wasn't that hard to see, in my opinion. Like, it just, if we wanted to beat Madrid, which we had to do, we had to score first. We had to do it. We had to push them and push them back. This team is not going to do that. None of them are going to do that. Sure, we almost had a couple counters, but they're not going to push them back. They were never going to do that. We're always going to sit back and keep defending. And Madrid's just not a team that you can sit back and defend and hope to go home 1-0. It's not going to happen like that. I said it in the group chat way before it ever happened. We were going down 2-0. It was going to happen. I seen it coming. And it's how it is, unfortunately. We got it wrong. We should have changed it at halftime. It was a good plan going in. If that's what you wanted to do, you could always try something, but it just didn't work. And we never changed anything. And then here we go, and we're down 2-0, and we have Chilwell out next game. I mean, we're fucked at the end of the day, but all chances you had were just coming down to how we set up, and it just didn't work. That's it.
Although, wouldn't you say going more aggressive would have made us even more likely to get players sent off than we were already in this scenario, clearly, because otherwise it wouldn't have happened. But, you know, if we go more aggressive, Vinicius having space in behind is just screams suicide. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but at the end of the day, maybe I trust Reece James. I hope to trust Reece James a little bit more about that. Well, now, it turned out that he sucked ass.
Right centre back and not wing back, but no one wanted to believe in me yesterday when I said that. But to be fair, with how he played, I don't think it would have made a single bit of difference. It would have been awful here or there, quite frankly. And Koulibaly did well, to be fair, which I didn't see coming that way. So, then what will Fofana have done on the left? I don't know. But yeah, there you go. Aaron, I finally let you go on Reece James. A 0, a 1, and a 2. What are you going to give Reece?
0, fucking pathetic, should be ashamed of himself, moaning and whining like a fucking bitch the whole fucking game when he was just dog shit. Like, what more can I say? The guy's fucking, it was fucking pathetic, honestly. It was like watching, like when we get onto Bruno Fernandez about being just a fucking rat and he was moans and whines, and that's exactly what Reece James did today, and it just pissed me off so much. I felt so ashamed to be wearing a shirt with number 24 on the back. I thought, you fucking idiot, like, what are you doing? You're meant to be one of the best players in the team. You're doing fuck all going forward. You're not helping coming back, which is why Fofana got his pants pulled down. Reece James also got made to strip. Let's not get it twisted. All of his statistics about his previous encounters with Vinicius, where he only got dribbled past once, fuck me, he made that look like a right cock up. Because when we got into the game today, I don't know what the fuck happened to him. He turned into fucking Trent, honestly. Like, it was pathetic. All these players should be docked their wages for a week for that performance, but he in particular was shocking. He was the worst player on the pitch, and that includes someone who got a red card.
Yeah, fair enough. Let's get to Chilwell on the other side then. Got himself sent off. I'm not going to be too harsh because of the red card, because to me that's Cucurella's fault. And yeah, sure, Chile maybe doesn't have to do it, but like I say, he only ever so slightly pulled him. He probably didn't think the guy would go down. He probably tried to just slow him down to give himself a chance to get around him and get something on a potential shot. I don't think he tried to bring him down being last man. I don't think that was his intention. It was obviously stupid, but it was, I don't know. Maybe I'm being too nice. Let's talk about Chile also before the red card. Obviously, after the red card itself, we'll talk about that as an individual moment as well in a second. But I thought before I felt the most bad for him. Well, I guess Felix and Sterling up front, but in terms of the not attackers, I felt the most bad for him because the amount of time he got the ball, whether it was from Koulibaly, from Thiago, from Enzo, or from Kepa, and he was just alone every time. He had no one in front of him. Felix never made a run. Felix never dropped deep to receive the ball. Kovacic, well, it's never as harsh, but not anywhere near often enough came over to actually be an outlet. The closest player half the time to Chile was 30 yards away, and that was usually Koulibaly. And if he played into Koulibaly tended to play back to Chilwell. So I felt bad for Chile today. I thought, my God. Just before half-time, we decided to I've had enough and just ran through the players. But then realized, oh shit, we don't have attackers. Brilliant. So with the red card in mind, like I say, I still think he was better than Reece. So with the red card, I'm going to give him 3. Without the red card, it's like a 4, maybe. Yeah, something like that. I don't know. But Aaron, I'll let you go first. Before the red card and the red card moment itself, what did you make of him?
Firstly, I'd like to apologize to YouTube for my language. I will try.
It's just YouTube has just gone weird recently, and they are much more, harsh on it recently. It's because it's a stream, because we're a bit into it. It might be okay, but I don't know. YouTube is weird these days.
Yeah, I apologize, YouTube. I didn't mean it. Please don't demonetize the stream. Thank you. But 0. He's a bozo. Don't know what he was doing. It's Cucurella's fault, but he's a bozo for pulling him down, and getting himself sent off means he's banned for the second leg, as if we weren't already. I'm trying to think of another word for what I was going to say because I was about to swear. If we're not already finished for the second leg after being 2 goals down, his red card just puts the icing and the cherry on top of the cake. So you're an idiot, pal. 0.
Fair. No, to be honest, like I say, I don't fully agree, but I still think what you said is fair. Do you know what I mean? Pice, do you quite agree with the 0 because of the red card, or would you give him a teeny tiny bit higher?
I'd probably give him a 1 just because he tracked back a little bit, unlike Reece James. But that red card was horrific. Like, I don't agree with you, Laurenz, at all. I think it was clearly intentional. Like, he literally dragged him. Like, it was not even like a little touch. He dragged him down. It was stupid. And I think he should have just, I mean, it's hard to say. Like, could he not at least try to like get back, like Koulibaly did? Like, Cucurella's fault as well, by the way. But like Chilwell, it was just stupid. Like, he just lost his head, and not like he didn't have any complaints about it.
No.
So it's going to be a 1 from me. I don't think, as you said, I don't think the midfield helped out him either. I don't think the attack, the whole system was dog shit. Every time it was like 3 times in the first half where he got the ball from Koulibaly, and he was like, he just like stopped and looked. He was like, okay, where do I go from here then? Like, he played it in midfield to Kovacic, and Kovacic didn't quite get there, because that was another thing. Like, our 3 midfielders, why the fuck was the gap so big between each player? Like, it was ridiculous.
I don't even understand how that's possible. We have 3 midfielders, 2 wing backs. How can the gaps have been that big?
I know, bro. It looked like we had no midfielders. It was just ridiculous. I don't know where. Like, holy fucking hell, man. Potter was a bad coach, but Lampard's structures are just, Jesus Christ, mate. Fucking hell, it's awful. Yeah, I'll give
I
him
just
a
don't
1.
think he knows how to manage a back 3. He never has.
I don't think
Maybe that's what happened at Everton.
Which is
They
why-
played a
which
back
is-
3 all the time there.
Which is why I kept telling you guys he's not going to play a back 3 because he doesn't know how. But apparently somebody told him
He
to play a
didn't know how
back
to
3,
play a
and here
back
we
4
go.
either, if you watch Saturday.
No, to play a
That's the issue.
4-3-3. I mean, fucking hell. I'm trying to think which game was worse.
I don't think it's a case of he can't manage a back 3. I think it's a case he just can't manage. He's dog shit. Honestly, he's pathetic.
I think he's good at what he does. He's not. If anybody ever thought Lampard was supposed to be a tactical manager, like that's on you, that's not on anybody else.
That is true, to be fair. See, I think we should hire Lampard purely to do all the press conferences, because he's very good at that. Not so sure about all the other parts of being a manager. But yeah, I do agree with your friend, the Overlord. I don't think he had a chance of getting there. It was maybe I was being too nice. Maybe you're right, Pyson. He did it. I still don't think he intentionally brought him down, but he intentionally obviously dragged him back. Yeah. And then he was probably aware that the guy was going to fall, but it was probably in his mind, well, either we go 2-0 down or I get sent off. And he made the choice that it's better for him to get sent off. Was that the good call? Was that a bad call? We'll either never know or find out next week. But it was most certainly mostly Cucurella's fault in my head. Clutch, what would you give Chilwell, and what do you think about the red card situation?
A 1. He clearly knew what he was doing, but I think he thought he could get away with it by just getting a yellow because it was outside the box. But that's not
Which
really
makes
how
no
that
sense,
works.
because inside the box, it would have been a yellow.
I don't think he would have got a card, would he have? Because if he would have brought it inside the box, it would have been a foul and a penalty. You can't
To
do
be fair,
He
even in
was-
the box, he might actually have gotten a red because there was no attempt off the ball.
He was the
and
last
whole-
man.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's why he got it.
Well, I
obviously.
thought you couldn't double penalize.
Yeah, but only if you attempt to get the ball, I think.
Yeah, you have to attempt to actually get the ball, and he made no attempt, so it's a red card either way, whether it's outside or inside.
Then he's done. That's all that needs to be said about it. He's done. He gets a 1.
Fair. Let's not get too hung up on it. Let's move up that pitch. Enzo Fernandez. I flip it. I'll ask you, Clutch. What do you think? What would you give him?
A 4, probably. I don't think he was that good. I don't think, other than Conte, I don't think anybody was that good on the field, to be honest. But I think he was. His spacing was terrible. It's just not the kind of place he wants to be. And unfortunately, when you're matched up with, because Conte was dealt the task of handling Modric, which he did to a degree, and he had to go for Valverde, which he just couldn't do. So, but again, we know he's not a defensive midfielder. It's something I've said multiple times when the worry about getting him in January, but hopefully we fix that in the summer. I just give him what did I say? 3, 4,
I think you said 4, but you can
4.
give him a 3 if you want.
4.
Fair. Let me see. How many times did he lose possession? 20 times. That is a lot. Fuck me. Okay. Well, let's give him a 4 for the time being. I don't even know. The pass accuracy 85 is okay. Ground duels 5 out of 9 is okay. Aerials 2 out of 3 is good. Long balls, he apparently succeeded 13 out of 16, but they were all relatively easy switches to Reece James, who then, or Chile, I guess, who then had no one to feed. That was the annoying bit, because against Liverpool, at least we attacked through the middle. Like, obviously, Real Madrid play very differently, so and that's not necessarily you can or we should have done the same or played the same. But if you're constantly gonna go via the wing backs to then not have any even remotely tall player to cross the ball to, it's just stupid. Like, it's just stupid. Like, you know how dumb it is? If the only place you get space is the wing backs, and then having no one in the box to cross the ball to just makes no sense. It just doesn't make sense. I know Havertz was poor in the weekend. Havertz is poor most games. But Havertz being poor doesn't make Felix and Sterling taller. You know, it's as simple as that. It doesn't. You know, who knows? I mean, the way they played the corner, who knows? But maybe if Havertz is at the front post, someone else can actually cover the flipping outside of the box area so we don't concede a second goal. No, obviously not. But honestly, I probably wouldn't even go as high as you did, Clutch. I might give him that 3. I wouldn't go. Would I go lower? I think he was better than Kovacic, but I will say 3. Price. What would you give Enzo? What did you make of him today? 20 times possession lost is a lot. Is a lot for a centre mid.
Yeah, I have to go really low rating. I said in the chat I thought Enzo was terrible, man. I really did. Just didn't have a good game today. You know, it is what it is. Yeah, just give the ball away so much. Like, it was lots of like moments in the middle of the pitch where it was like, you know, like get stuck in, like win the ball, you know, and he'd maybe like he'd get the ball and he'd like flick it and then he'd lose it to the player next to him. It was just so annoying. Like, he couldn't. I don't know. He just didn't like dictate the game as well as he usually does. He didn't, you know, bring us forward. I mean, he hit an obscene amount of long balls, but I don't really remember doing any, you know, them doing any substance. So,
No.
yeah, I'd probably give him like a 3, to be honest. I think he was quite poor in the middle. I think all of our midfielders were below average. Personally, I think Kante even faded away from the game a lot.
Yeah, I agree with you. Aaron, finish that Enzo off for us. 2 3s, 1 4. What would you give him?
Probably a 3 as well. I do think that he was better than Kovacic, but there wasn't particularly all that much that he could do. Like, I get what you're saying about the easy switches out wide, but he had nothing in front of him. Like, nothing. The gap between the midfield and the front two was such a joke. Like, he could only really go sideways. Trying to go forwards was pointless because none of the front two were winning anything that was coming towards them. So what was the point? All he could really do was go to the wing backs, but he got...
Yeah, no, of course. That's not the fact that he could only pass there, that's not his fault. I agree with that.
But yeah, but he got dispossessed so many times for my liking. It was just... I think this is the first bad game that he's actually had in the Chelsea shirt, but the fact that it's come in a game where everyone was just so bad is slightly less of a detriment to him, but I do think that he wasn't great at all, so I'd probably go with a 3.
Fair. All right. Let's get to Mateo Kovacic then. It's a weird one. So I just looked at the touches. So Enzo had 112 touches. I'm surprised any of our players had anywhere near those amount of touches. Kovacic has 77 and Kante had 47. Obviously, Kante didn't play the whole game as well, so that has to be factored into that too. Because otherwise, Kovacic's stats... No, you know what's bad about Kovacic's stats? Because his pass accuracy was good, 98.9% apparently. That's okay. But what's the problem is he won 1 out of 3 ground duels, 1 out of 3, a third. That isn't the issue. The issue is that we played this game and you were only in 3 ground duels. And that's what I meant with believing and trying hard enough. Where was the fight? Because how can you be a centre mid when we're basically getting peppered all game long? And by peppered, I don't mean shot after shot. I mean dominated and like pushed back, basically with them constantly playing it around our midfielders. Like, that's where they mainly built it up, obviously with Kroos and Mudryk and Valverde. How can you only be in 3 duels? 3 in that game. I mean, Enzo was in, what, 10? Was it? 9. Enzo was in 9. Kante was in... To be fair, Kante was only in 4 as well, so maybe I should slightly calm it down. But Oh, my days. I was not happy with Cover. It was no use on the ball. I know he had 90% pass accuracy, but I would love to see a pass map of Cover, how many times he passed forward, because he didn't felt like he ever did. He never helped Chile. And that was so frustrating to me. Was also complete. Again, maybe I'd need to watch it back. I don't know why Cover was all the way on the right-hand side. Why were Kante, Enzo, and Cover all next to Reece? And then Reece gives the ball away. How can you even give the ball away when there's 3 midfielder teammates next to you? That's even the next question. But yeah, because Kante also had very few duels, I'll give Cover a 2. I was going to go 1 before that, but I'll give him a 2, I guess. Reverse order, I suppose. Aaron, what do you think? But do you agree with the sentiment that how can a midfielder in this game only have 3 duels?
Yeah, I agree with that sentiment, but 0, he was wank.
Any more detail you would like to elaborate on?
He was shit. He was poor. I didn't understand him today. It felt like nothing he did went well. You're right. He gave Chilwell no help, so it was like he had to deal with so much more. The spaces between the midfield, that's another thing. Like, you're a midfield 3, you've got 2 wing backs, and the gaps in between you is ridiculous. Should have been a lot tighter to Enzo, or at least in a decent gap between Enzo and Chilwell, so you're not creating loads of space for them to pass through. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what he was doing. Honestly, it felt like I had a shaved-headed Conor Gallagher on the pitch. Like, he ran, he ran, but that was about it. There was no substance to his game. And that's very shocking from someone like Kovacic, because you expect him to be able to pick up the ball, dribble with it, look for options. Okay, there wasn't many options, but you still be able to pick up the ball, be very, like, do well under pressure on the ball, retain possession. He done nothing, absolutely nothing. And he's lucky that he doesn't get minus numbers. If I'm being honest, I thought he was that bad in the midfield. I'll go
He
with
never
0.
even attempted a dribble. You know, Kovacic not attempting a dribble. I've never heard of that.
That was the most depressed thing I've ever heard in my life.
Didn't even attempt to dribble.
No, did you hear? Did anybody hear Pius?
No, I didn't. What did he say?
What did you say, Pius?
What? I didn't say anything.
Oh, I thought I heard him say like 0 out of like the quiet.
I think that was me actually. But yeah,
that is honestly pathetic. How he can attempt no dribbles with everyone else on the pitch, with his other 2 in midfield. He's the one who should be attempting those dribbles, and he done nothing. So 0.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more. I mean, even Enzo attempted 1 dribble, didn't complete it, mind you, but at least he attempted 1. And Kante, a whole midfield combined, attempted a combined 2 dribbles, and succeeded at a combined 0 dribbles. Well, that tells you everything you need to know about the day, doesn't it? Clutch, Kovacic, what would you give him? How would you assess what happened?
For a guy who's supposed to be one of the leaders on the field, and I think he said the quiet part out loud the other day when he said it's easier to fire a manager than it is to fire 3 players. You can kind of understand the players' mindsets at that point. I'd give him a 1, probably. I think that's fair enough. Like, he was just non-existent, didn't really help out. Wasn't the same Kovacic, and he's been that way for a couple games now, to be honest.
It's true.
It's getting worrying at this point. Is he being overplayed? What's happening with him? I don't know. But for this game, I'd give him a 1.
Okay. Pice, we all know you love him dearly. And, fair dues. But arguably, the more you love and rate a player, the more disappointed you are when they play badly. And you probably agree that he played badly. I mean, there's not a lot more damning than Kovacic having 0 attempted dribbles and 3 ground duels in a game like this, right?
Yeah, you're spot on. He was atrocious, bro. It was so bad. Like, my God, like, I felt like he lost the ball so much as well tonight. Like, the amount of mistimed tackles he placed as well. Like, and for me, I don't know whether it was just me. He looked really slow and, like, sluggish. I don't know. Like, he just wasn't on it. Like, yeah, like, there was that pass that Chilwell made into the middle of the pitch, and he got beat to it. And I was like, bro, on-form cover gets that, like, dribbles past him, like, starts.
He only attempted 1 tackle as well, by the way. Didn't succeed it.
I mean, I'm sure I saw him attempt more, but he definitely
you know,
didn't
you
make
never
any
know with these
successful
weird
ones.
stats what they count as a tackle and what they don't. You never know with that.
He was just like it was just like he was like second to every little thing, and that pisses me off because there was a lot of players like that, and that just leads to a shit performance. And why I was saying like, where is like the urgency? Like, where's the fucking warrior Kovacic? Like, where are you, man? Like, I don't know. I was really disappointed with
He
him.
played against Mudryk, you know, that's where his allegiance is like.
Well, he said like last week, he was like, I'm going out there like we're gonna fight on the pitch. Like, there was no fucking fight on the pitch.
No.
It's embarrassing. I'm gonna give him a 0, to be honest. Like, I give James a 0. I think he should get a 0 as well. It was so bad.
Fair play. You know what? Maybe I'll bring mine down to a 1. Give him a 0.0 then. Does feel harsh that he got lower than everyone else so far now. Now, you know, I'll stick to my 2 so he can keep his 1 because I would feel harsh if he's the only one below a 1. That shouldn't probably
James,
be the case.
I expect to rise up on this occasion, and they didn't. So I think that's why.
You know what? Actually, I will agree. James gets a 0. I think James was the worst today, and then we can give cover a 0.5.
So wait, are we then saying that Kepa was better than Kovacic?
I think
Seriously?
it was. I think it was.
Oh Lord.
No.
I'll give him a 0, by the way.
Let's be serious for a second, right? He made 8 saves. Kovacic didn't even make that many tackles.
Kepa cost us 2 goals, maybe 1, but definitely.
Kovacic cost us the first one with Reece. I mean, Reece gave the ball away for no reason, and Kovacic was 30 yards out of possession. That's worse than Kepa not keeping a ball out, I think.
I prefer not to speak.
Kepa ended the tie anyway because we was in it at 1-0 before he made that.
I mean, that is true. You know what? Let's give Kepa a 0.0 as well. I'm not going to fight it, man. I don't give a shit. Like,
I'll give Kepa a 0, bro. Come on.
The only reason why I'm like, Kepa is the only one because he's the goalkeeper, that I'm like, well, I can't say you didn't try. Because the others are outfield players. A goalie can't really try or not try. So that's why I'm like almost giving him that benefit because I'm like, well, I can't say he didn't try. About all the others I can.
Also, the space that Kepa got beat from is kind of one of Kovacic's places that he has to defend. But
that's what I'm saying. Kovacic was all the way on the right-hand side and didn't get over to Carvajal in time. Oh, did you mean from the corner? Well, I don't know if Kovacic.
But then let's be real.
It seemed like we didn't know what to do with one man down, how to defend a set piece. But
I don't blame Kepa for either of them. So
the saves that Kepa made, everything was pretty much at him. There was nothing that he had to really make a difficult save. So are we really giving him credit for making saves that were pretty much right at him?
A goalie can only save what's shot at them. That's all.
Yeah, but it's right at him. So what are you giving him 0.5 for? Because he fucking didn't really do anything out of the ordinary.
I didn't rate him. If I rated him, he'd be a 1.
Even that's nice. He literally. The thing I don't understand. All the shots that he saved were right at him, and the ones that weren't.
Because I don't think either of those goals are his fault. That's why.
Oh no!
Oh my. Clutch, the second goal was
going to put my mic on.
Why don't you think the second one was his fault? If the other guys all disagree,
because the space where that guy has the availability to shoot should be occupied, but it wasn't.
Yeah,
okay, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's not also his fault. That means it's someone else.
It's just every time he gets beat from outside the box, everybody's like, "Oh well, it's Kepa's fault."
No, this one was Kepa's fault. It was terrible. It was
everyone was sleeping. Yes, everyone's sleeping from the corner because it took a quick corner. But he has to save that. There is no 2 ways about it.
That's it. Like you're right, Clutch. That someone else should have been there. That's absolutely true. But that doesn't mean Kepa can't save it after, though.
I'm not arguing the point, but I just don't believe it in myself. So hey, you guys, that's all you. That's all you.
I don't think it's like a complete.
Bro, I'm sending replays to you later, bro.
A complete shocker that he didn't save it, but I think that because it went through Fofana's legs and took a deflection off Fofana, that's why I let him off a little bit. I still think he should have saved it, but anything that takes a deflection is more difficult for a keeper. It's just like that for me. But yeah, and I know what you're saying, Aaron, and you're also right in a way. Like if it's shot straight at him all the time, sure, but you know. Kepa didn't even try. You know? If Kepa didn't try, he could have let all of them past him. You know? He could have done. At least he didn't do that. So that's already better than Kovacic having 0 attempted dribbles and 3 ground duels. No, you know what? I'll bring Kepa back to a 1 because that's how democracy works. I'm not going to let you ruin my opinion because I stand by that. I stand by that. That is not as bad as what the outfield players did, what Kepa did. Yeah, I stand by that. I do apologize if you disagree. It is what it is. Have we all done on Kovacic? I think so. All right, let's get to N'Golo Kante then. I'm very intrigued what we're going to say about him because Kante looked amazing, in particular for the first 5 minutes when he played through Joao Felix, and then, well, he's worse than Kai Havertz in goal. But I think it was you, Pies, that touched on it. It kind of deteriorated as the game went on. He also had the worst pass accuracy of all three. Enzo had 85, Kova had 89, Kante had 81. He had 1 attempted long ball, incompleted, 2 crosses, both incomplete. Dribble attempts 1, 0 completed. Ground duels 1 out of 4. Aerial duels 0 out of 2. Possession lost 13, which is actually more than Kova. And he played less. Kante, I'll give him a 4. Nah, I gave Enzo a 3. I got to give him a 5. But I still don't think it was... Is even 5 a bit high? Give him a 4.5. Give him a 4.5. I think I'll go with that. Let's see what you guys say. Maybe you convince me of something different.
Can I ask a question?
Please.
So Kepa gets a 1, and I see everybody in the chat going after Kepa. But when there is 10 shots on target, and I see a 6.5, a 6, and a 5 for defenders, can I ask that question? Does that anybody want to explain to me? Defense was shit, by the way, if in case we...
I mean, on the one hand, yes.
Koulibaly's the only one individually I think is okay.
It's not necessarily... it doesn't always have to be bad if you let the guy shoot, as long as you don't let him shoot from a good position. And other than twice, we didn't let them shoot from a good position. That's why they were all pretty much comfortable saves for Kepa. Because the defender's job is to stop them shooting, but if you can't stop them shooting, you have to stop them from shooting well or shooting from a good position. So, that's how the kind of the job roles extend. The more in detail you go with it, I guess. But I mean, the defenders didn't individually cost us a goal, and Kepa did. I know, not in your opinion, that's fair, but you still gave him a 1. But I guess maybe you would have given all defenders a 1 as well. So fair enough. Aaron, I'll let Clutch speak on Kante in a minute. But Aaron, what would you give Kante? Do you think I'm harsh with a 4.5 on Kante? I feel like a few in the chat would probably think it's harsh. But what do you think?
It's difficult because he started off well and he sort of regressed over the game. He should have had an assist, but yeah, we'll get on to my man up front in a bit. He definitely should have had an assist. It was a great through ball. You could see that he was trying. He was the only one really with legs who was actually trying to run around. Okay, we say that Gallagher runs like a headless chicken and Kante was doing similar things in a way, but he was still looking to try and pick up the ball, make those tackles. Well, he was at least trying to get close to players, which I don't really see the other two do as much. He was trying to get in there, trying to win the ball back, trying to bring the play forward a bit. Obviously, it didn't really work out. He didn't have the options, but I think he was okay. I don't think it was anything particularly great. I feel he was robbed of an assist because of number 11, so I'll probably go for 5.
There you go. And Matt, because we already have 5 people, we're going to be here for literally ever. I'm going to bring you back on the stream soon, but it's already 1 a.m. for me. I know for you it's early morning anyway, but we'll do that another time. I do apologize, bro, because otherwise, like I say, it's already nearly 1 a.m. Sorry, Aaron. Now I was reading 2 things at the same time. What rank did you give him? My bad.
5.
Okay. Maybe I will push it up to a 5. We'll see. So let's see what the other boys say. Pice, do you think I'm being harsh with a 4.5 as well? I mean, some people in the chat want to give him a 7. You can't have the lowest pass accuracy of the midfield 3. No successful dribbles, 1 successful ground duels, and lose the ball more than actually Kova did and get a 7 like that. No, no, that's not a thing. Even he had 1 attempted tackle according to FotMob and succeeded none of them. He wasn't good. He was maybe better than the other 2, but he wasn't good.
I don't think he was good at all. I'd give him a 4, honestly. I think he drifted out of the game, and I don't think he was good on the ball. Off the ball, he didn't have the influence that he usually does. You watch that game when he came back against Liverpool, bro. he was unbelievable. I don't know whether it was because he was in the midfield three today and he just, hasn't played in
He was
that
in the
for
midfield
ages.
three
He was in the
It
midfield
was
three
the
against
exact
Liverpool.
same thing. Just Sterling wasn't in. It was Havertz.
Against Liverpool.
Yep. And Koulibaly and Cucurella?
Nah, Cucurella played instead of and Koulibaly was, of course, in the middle instead of Silva. But yeah, we had Felix and Havertz up top, midfield, the same midfield three, actually.
The only difference is Liverpool is really terrible, and we didn't talk about that.
Yeah.
Which is
And
why I
maybe
was so
we
pissed
had
that we
Bruno
didn't
in
beat
charge.
them.
Maybe that was the difference too.
Oh, no, it was completely because Liverpool is a
sacking wasn't
really
that
bad
long
team.
ago. Lampard couldn't ruin them for the last 2 weeks. Or week.
Well, I don't know. I thought he played in the midfield too, but fair enough. You guys are right. Maybe I should remember. I was at the game, but anyway, he played. he played extremely well, and he was just unbelievable. And he wasn't tonight, essentially.
No.
Yeah. I mean, again, like what I mentioned earlier, there was like one time where he came back to help Fofana, because Reece wasn't tracking back. He came across, helped Fofana out, and I think that was when he actually got drawn to the touchline, Vinny did, and then Fofana like made a tackle, and because he was doubled up against, because Kante was coming back, he didn't have the space to like cut inside of Fofana because Kante was there, but I only saw that like one time. Like again, like the midfield for me was just so like disjointed. Like this is your picture, Aaron. What the fuck?
No, but seriously.
Yeah, no, like in general, like I just didn't understand the positioning of our midfielders either. Like there's literally a screenshot where Kante's like left centre mid when half the time he was on the right. Like what the fuck's going on? I don't understand. So I'm gonna give him a 4. I think he was poor, to be honest.
Fair. So someone asked, how many recoveries? Where was it? He had 7, 1 interception. Enzo Fernandez had...
Bro, how does Kante get 1 interception? That should tell you it all, bro. Kante, 1 interception.
Yeah, no, but that's more the stats, what they define as an interception, I think is more the issue. I think the recovery stat is more important.
How many
But
did he get
Enzo
against
had
Liverpool?
10, so 3 more than Kante. And Kovacic, let me check. Well, he had 4. He was just dreadful.
I think that all can be answered. What was Kante's role today?
Mate, not Lampard, not Kante, not anyone knew that.
I sat there and watched him. He was pretty much stuck to Luka Modric. That's what he was told to do.
I mean, maybe. Honestly, I didn't necessarily notice that, but maybe. But Clutch, I mean, it's your turn anyway. What would you?
Oh, is it? I'd give him a. Oh, you mean Kante? I'd give him a 4.5. I thought, like within the first 30 minutes, he was really good, and after that, he kind of started fading out. And you can kind of tell Luka Modric started getting into the game a little bit more when Kante started to either get tired or whatever it was with Kante. But you can tell because the influence that Luka Modric started to have in that game. But that's why Kante was pretty much on him for the most part.
Fair enough. And T-Spot, SofaScore also says 1 interception. But, blame FOTMob rather than the player. Sure. 4.5, we move. Let's get to these two. Honestly, especially Felix, I kind of want to not even rate him. Like, I kind of want to give him a rating for the first 5 minutes, give him a 0 for that, and then get an NA for the rest. Because I didn't see the dude. I didn't see it.
Is it the appropriate time for the use of emojis, or are we...
We might bring an emoji, but I still want to say what ratings we would give if we did give a rating.
Fair enough.
Let's do Felix. Well, shall we do Sterling first? I guess let's do Sterling before we do Felix anyway, because in a way he should kind of have been further behind, but then it doesn't really matter, does it? Pass accuracy, 76%, but he only had 13 of those. Well, 13 successful passes. 27 touches. He attempted 2 dribbles, succeeded at 1. 2 out of 4 ground duels. 3 out of 3 aerial duels, to be fair to him, apparently. Lost possession 6 times, but, obviously didn't have it a lot, so, that helped. Only got 1 foul, even though I think he should have actually had more if the ref, did his job. But my main issue was him just where he stood, like where he moved to. Like Chilwell had the ball. You didn't drop, you didn't run. So what the fuck did you expect? Like, how do you expect to get the ball if you don't drop deep to receive it or make a run to be played into? Like, but yeah, back to Sterling, who I decided we're doing first for some reason. Stats for him. He attempted 4 dribbles. Only succeeded 1 anyway. Accurate passes, 84%. Okay, 16. Fair enough. 2 more touches than Felix had. So not much in that. Ground duels, Sterling was much worse because he had only won 2 out of 9. I'm not sure how many of those were offensive, how many of those were defensive, of course. I think Sterling certainly worked harder, so he probably maybe had a couple of them defensively. But lost possession 10 times. That's pretty much the same as Felix, wasn't it? Whatever it is. Sterling. He was a bit unlucky on that one chance he had. He had our best chance. Well, no, Mount did. I don't know, bro. What do I give Sterling? What do I give him? The only thing he did good was when he got Camavinga booked, which I thought was a harsh yellow anyway. It was a foul, but I thought it was a harsh yellow. I'll give him like a 1. He didn't look fit on the weekend. He didn't really have the ball enough for me to decide whether he looked fit or not. Could Mudryk have done any worse? No. Could Pulisic have done any worse? No. But it is what it is. So
Could Werner have done worse?
No.
That's saying something.
Do you think though, like as bad as these two were, like if you switched them out for like Havertz, Pulisic, or Mudryk, Havertz, like do you think we would have had like the same problem in terms of just
1,000,000%? Maybe Havertz would have changed it a little bit because at least you can
like,
play him a high ball. But
yeah, he does drop deep more, but I just
you drop deep, but also like you can win a header, right? Sterling isn't going to win a header against Militao or Alaba, realistically, which isn't Sterling's fault. So that's why even if 1 feels harsh, I almost want to give them an A because of exactly what you said. The way we played, our midfielders, all 3 midfielders, having 0 completed dribbles. That's how. Remember when it was under Tuchel 2 years ago when we won the Champions League, or last year. The way we beat Madrid and the way it worked, the way we created that first chance was we got Kante or whoever. Well, in this case, it was Kante, but it could have obviously been somebody else. You get them through, you get them past their midfield line, and then you have a run, you play a through ball. But if none of the midfielders have a successful dribble, honestly, Ruben Loftus-Cheek would have been better. He would. I know you all hate him. Don't give a shit. But Ruben Loftus-Cheek would have completed a dribble. I guarantee it. I will put my fucking life on it. That Ruben Loftus-Cheek would have completed a dribble had he played.
He would have completed a dribble at the right wing back though. So not in the
absolutely. But he would have completed a dribble. So I don't even know. I mean, Price, you spoke. What do you want to give Sterling? Because in a way, I agree with you. So it's super difficult to give them a rating because I'm like,
bro,
they really have a chance? They could have worked hard in terms of dropping deep, helping us release pressure by helping us, get the ball out. They could have done better with that. But everything else, especially for Sterling, Felix at least had the one real moment where he should have done better with the chance. Sterling's one chance, he couldn't even have done much better than that, I don't think so. I don't know. What do you think, Pies? Would you what rating would you give it?
Like in terms of like individually, just judging their performances as they was on the pitch, I'd probably give like Sterling like a 1 or a 2.
Yeah.
And then Felix like a 0, to be honest. Just because like Felix couldn't hold the ball up and he wasn't winning fouls and he didn't, he I don't know, like his dribbling wasn't there, like he was just ineffective. And they were both pretty lazy, to be honest. Felix especially. But yeah, like the bigger question is just like why? Like I think Lampard got it wrong. I clearly got it wrong because I predicted that this was my lineup. I would have these two up front for the counter attacks. But even when Havertz came on, he made that. He won a corner out of nothing. Essentially, it's just little things like that. I think,
and he was on his own because that was when we were down to 10.
So we probably could have done him. Like I think Havertz and Felix. I did mention this in the preview. I was like, maybe it makes more sense to play Havertz and Felix because they've actually played together. Like if we're gonna do this like system, at least have 2 players up top that can link up with each other.
Maybe Havertz and Mudryk would have made the most sense, just because Mudryk is because Felix didn't have the pace to be faster than Militao. Obviously, Sterling never got to try. But if there is one that does, it's Mudryk. And if Havertz can hold the ball and lay it through, then that's the only chance, isn't it? But
there was a couple of times where I was like, either switch to 3-4-3 and bring Mudryk on, or just put Mudryk up front. Because there was a couple of times where they were so open, but I mean, who's to say would have fucking scored anyway? We saw what happened against.
Absolutely.
We saw it against whoever he missed that 1-on-1 against. Was it Fulham or something? Who was
Villa.
it? Everton or whatever. Yeah,
Villa.
Villa. That's it. Yeah. So I don't know, man. We're in the mud. We're in the mud.
We are in the mud a little bit. Aaron, do you even agree with Pies? I mean, we'll get to Felix in a second, but do you agree that Sterling was a tiny bit better than Felix? Because I know you just said, Pies, that Felix didn't even win any free kicks. Sterling, they both won one, actually. That one against Camavinga was the only one Sterling won as well.
I thought Sterling won like 2 or 3.
Well, unless SofaScore is wrong, SofaScore says one. I don't remember, do I? But according to them, and obviously we all remember that one when Camavinga got booked. So apparently they even were both equally as bad at that one. But Sterling had a more difficult chance and at least got a fucking shot on target. Felix just did nothing. And shot it. I mean, he had a shot on target as well, but Sterling forced a good save. Felix, for old time's sake, for Atletico Madrid heydays. Do you know what I mean? That's why he passed the ball to Courtois, is what it felt like. But Aaron, Sterling, do you even give him a 1? Do you give him a 0? Would you like? Do you agree with what me and Pies were talking about in terms of it's even difficult to really, other than work rate and helping, it's even difficult to really say you were that bad, you were not, because even when they had the ball, those 29 touches, he's there. Like Madrid did really well in terms of dropping back when they had to. So there was this one counter-attacking moment where Sterling was all of a sudden 1 against 5 defenders. Like, what is he going to do? No matter, whether it's Mudryk or Pulisic or Havertz, none of them would have done anything.
It's not difficult. For me, it's not difficult. Sterling was better than Felix, but Sterling still gets a 0. I thought he was genuinely pathetic. I don't give a shit whether you're playing 2 up front and you like attacking and you don't want to defend. You see what the team are doing. You see what the plan is. We're trying to defend, nullify Madrid. I don't give a shit if you're an attacker. You drop back and you defend as well. You don't just stand up front, isolated by yourselves, so far away from the midfield that they can't even use you as an option. None of you want to drop deep, pick up the ball, make a run, give any options. You're just standing there like a couple of melts. Like, what was the point in him even playing? I said Felix and Havertz should be the front 2. Havertz and Felix have a bit of chemistry playing together, and Havertz gives you that bigger frame, that posture, someone who's going to be able to win aerial duels. Kepa's taking goal kicks, punting it long. Who the fuck is up there who's gonna win a header? You're punting a goal kick long to Sterling and Felix. It made no sense. I thought they were both pathetic, but the worst thing is Sterling was a 0 and he was still better than Felix.
Fair enough. Clutch, what would you give Sterling?
I'm gonna go with 1 and 0 for Felix and Sterling.
Sterling was Felix, 0 for Sterling.
0 for Felix. Felix was absolutely just nothing today. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And I love the guy. And this is that one time when I'm not being harsh on him and getting in trouble for giving him a 0, I think.
Yeah.
I think, obviously Real Madrid kind of knew we were going to come and try to do the counterattack thing against them. And they had faith in Courtois. But at the end of the day, they still did nothing. They didn't come back to help out. They didn't kind of close the gaps. And they just tried to break on the counter, and that's all they were waiting for, somebody to punt the ball along. And I can't stand when players do that. Sterling really pissed me off. At one point, he was running with the ball, and instead of pushing the attack, he decided he was just going to turn around and pass backwards. And that really set me off.
My God, I remember that moment. Because before he got the ball right, was it Chilwell? I was literally screaming, running behind, and then he came to the ball. He got the ball, and then I thought, okay, he's going to run with it now. He turned around and passed it back. I was like, I'm done. Oh, fucking hell, you've just triggered that on me now.
So down to a 0 or 0.5 for him, or? Nope. Okay.
That was for you, Bias. That wasn't for me.
Oh, yeah, no, 0 for that. I should look at 0 because that actually vexed me. I don't actually remember that. How did I not remember that? Thank you for bringing that up, because I was fucking well angry when he did that.
Yeah.
When I was like, it's literally, remember when he joined and all he did was get the ball and pass it back? There's nothing more that pisses me off. Like when you don't make the run, and then you get the ball and you don't dribble. You just
that was especially criminal because he just decided there was one defender in front of him. He said, "No, that's too much for me. I'm just gonna go backwards."
Well, he tried it once before, and Eder Militao didn't even break a fucking sweat, and Sterling looked like he had sprinted.
Can we just say, Carvajal had the easiest game of his entire life, We did not test him like once in this game.
And he should have been sent off, by the way, because he clearly just kicked out a Cucurella. He didn't hit him, but that's not the point. It was clearly a malicious kick out. And VAR just started fuck all about it. And that is a disgrace.
Huh? Did you see Mount's tackle? Fucking hell. I thought it was
absolutely. But Mount was at least in play. You know, the ball wasn't even there anymore when Carvajal tried to kick Cucurella.
The worst thing is there was a tweet that got liked from Todd Boehly's account of what a Real Madrid fan just talking absolute shit about Carvajal, saying, yeah, he's this, he's that. There was a clip of him defending, being absolutely horrible in defense. And then he goes and has this game where he doesn't have to do anything because he has no problems at all. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. Real Madrid fans are showing you that he can't defend and you still didn't test him.
No, I agree. I mean, that is obviously, that will happen in the 3-5-2. Who is going to challenge their right back? But, you know.
And the worst thing is, Raheem Sterling played over Havertz, who would have provided a better balance. And the Chernobyl Dan James got a standing ovation from Real Madrid fans at the Bernabeu, and he didn't even see the light of day on the pitch. Like, it just makes no sense.
Oh my days!
Dan James is harsh, man. Come on.
No, it's not. How is that? You tell me how what you've watched from Mudryk right now is.
He's Chernobyl Raheem Sterling, bro. At least he's fast, you know, unlike Sterling. He's like Timo Werner when they try to tell us they're fast and then they play for us and they're all of a sudden...
That's why I said Dan James. At least he's quick as well. But
it's true. It's true.
There's nothing else.
Does anybody know where Dan James plays now?
Leeds.
Fulham, I think.
Fulham, sorry. Yeah, he's on loan from Leeds.
Yeah, and Fulham are above us in the league, to be fair. So, you know.
William would be our best attacker, for fuck's sake.
Oh, by 3 country miles, not just 1. Do you know what I mean? All right, 2 0s. Clutch, you gave him a 1.
I'm making you do math, so sorry.
No. I won't. I just give him a 1 to give a 0.5. It doesn't fucking matter, does it? I do think he was a tad better than Felix, and Felix gets the 0 as well. If James gets the 0, Felix gets the 0. I mean, bro, what is the point? The guy, I mean, when I had the stat, and I didn't, if I only knew this yesterday, I would have never said he should start. The guy's played 6 games against Real Madrid for Atletico Madrid. Why was it so little? I don't really understand. He was there for many years. Obviously, he might have missed some with injuries or whatever else, or not been picked. But I swear they play each other every year in the Cup and the Champions League. Maybe this was a longer ago before Felix was there in my memory. But he played 6 times against them before today and never scored, never won. What? And he wasn't even... I know Atletico are obviously, on average, not as good as Real Madrid, but like, you know, they were reasonably around there. You never score and never win. It can't be that great, can it?
At least he's consistent.
Well, that's true. He's remained with that consistency today as well, bro.
Consistency is key.
Well, don't know what key, but, you know, a key, I guess.
You know what makes me the most mad is I keep seeing people saying they miss Timo Werner. That's what makes me mad. That's what we've done to this fan base. Well, a 3-5-2 with Havertz and Werner up top would have certainly been better than with Felix and Sterling, that's for sure. Timo, you know, other than the last few weeks when he started pulling out of every tackle, which pissed me the fuck off, at least he tried.
Bro, I've seen people say they miss Morata. Don't worry, we'll get through this period.
Miss Morata. I miss Morata in a way. I miss Sarri. Oh my God. Remember that? That was good times. We played actual football. It's a long time since we've done that. It's the definition of down bad. I still did play football. And Potter did about 2 games. So that was fantastic, wasn't it? But yeah, Felix, what can I say? Yes, on the one hand, I do feel like, you know, him and Sterling were tasked with the job, with the near impossible job. And you can't do anything about your pace. But I'm not sure about you guys. Maybe it's just more that I've been so frustrated by him over the last few weeks. But he got played through so nicely by Kante. And he was still in their half. And he was like 5 yards ahead of them. I know Militao is fast, but surely you got a bit more in you. Like, this is... You know this league. You know this opponent. Well, to be fair, most of the other Chelsea players have played them 4 times over the last 2 years as well. But still, you know them. You've played them. You watched them because you're in that country. How can you... What is that? He didn't even try to, like... Once Militao got it next to him, ahead of him, I thought at least he would do the stupid thing he did against... Was it Villa? Do the cut back, chop it, And then, but the guy that apparently doesn't have a left foot because he always refuses to shoot with it. So, that effort was so bad. Like, I mean, Courtois didn't even have to do anything. Just shot it straight at him. Every time Felix shoots, he either hits the bar or the post or he's straight at the keeper. Why? The guy's so talented, but it just weren't good enough. It just weren't good enough. What can I say? No, but seriously, exactly, Aaron. You wanted the poo emoji, but how would you elaborate it?
Oh shit! I was looking for a picture of Werner to change my picture and my camera roll on the screen.
You know what? No, I'll let Pice tell you find your picture.
I will be back.
Good. Pice, Felix, then what would you say?
I mean, I already kind of said it. I just think, his dribbling was non-existent. His influence was non-existent. And I think the point of Havertz dropping deep was, a good point because, like, just work for the team. It was just like they were up there. They didn't really care. They were obviously frustrated. But if you're frustrated, wouldn't you want to go and get the ball and at least do something? Like, would you not want to, like, stand up there, like what good does it do for yourself and the team to just stand up there and wait for the ball? Like, go and fucking get involved in the game. Like, it's like, at least when I played football, I'm not on the level of these guys, but surely my natural emotion when I didn't have the ball was like, I want to go and get the ball now because I want to, I want to do something. I want to impact the game. I want to try and help my team. These guys were just standing up front like, this is fun, isn't it? Like, I just don't know. Like, yeah, it was just not good. At least if Havertz played, he might have, he might not have scored, might not have done anything, but at least he would have dropped deep. We may have had one more attack maybe, or, we may have had a couple more corners where we could have had a chance. Like, just little things. Like, when you're so isolated up there, you need to do something. Doing nothing doesn't help anyone, and they literally did nothing. So that's how I would describe it. It's like they didn't help themselves or the team.
No, they didn't. Would you give him a 0, yeah?
Yeah, off the performance, yeah. I mean, both zeros probably. I mean, at least Sterling had that nice play where he won the foul and stuff, but like...
And an actual serious chance that he did well with, and got it on target.
Actually, that came off the defender, actually, when I watched it back, by the way. It wasn't Sterling. It was Militao. Well,
wasn't it Sterling and then Militao?
I think it was just Militao, I think. But I have to watch it again.
My rating. Sterling gets a 0 as well. If he didn't even do that, fuck me.
I don't think he did, because when I watched it back, I'm sure like Militao just like was the one who touched it, but I have to try and find it.
Let me know if Pice is right. If he is, then Sterling gets a 0 as well.
Because I thought it was
24 assists in his whole career. My days. I'm not surprised anymore that I never see him pass when he should. Aaron, have you still not found a picture of Werner?
No, I couldn't find the picture in my camera roll, so I've got a picture.
You needed off a camera roll. Okay.
Yeah, no, so I've just got a picture of Rob Holding and Chris Wood together, so it says Holding Wood, because that's what we did today.
I was like, why Holding and Wood all of a sudden?
Yeah, no, we held Wood. We held Wood. So,
I don't know what you did tonight, but I didn't.
At least we didn't get fucking thumped like Liverpool, but...
Yeah, we could have lost 5-2. We didn't.
Small victories. Small victories in time.
Exactly. But then when I see us play against Liverpool, I'm not fucking shocked, if I'm honest. They look how bad they were. Imagine, and we are shit.
How is Bruno Soto better than Lampard?
Like they did against us against Real Madrid. They literally conceded 17 goals. My God. But yeah, Aaron, what is there even to say about Felix? I know we said most of it already, but just anything last that you need to add?
He robbed Kante of an assist. I think we should probably ban him from getting on the plane back and just send him back to Madrid. He's already there anyway, so it's a short trip to Atletico. Thank you for your services. You're a luxury, flashy player, but yeah. Fortunately, buddy, you're not cutting the mustard. He was shit. If we could give negative ratings, I would. If we could stick an emoji, I would. I keep saying the word would, and my picture has the word would in it, so it's just really throwing my head at the moment. But yeah, he was honestly, I have no words. That was probably one of the worst cameos I've seen in a very, very long time. Every shot at the keeper, doesn't drop, doesn't come and give you an option, no support. Every shot is just straight at the keeper. Yeah, that's about it. That's about it.
Yeah. Yeah. What can we say? Maybe we should give them an emoji, but I feel a bit too harsh giving them an emoji because I feel like they still had, even if they did better, it was still an impossible job. And even if they tried harder, we still wouldn't have given them more than a 1. So from that perspective, yeah. Let's quickly do Cucurella. Here's a quick one. You get a 0. He actually did okay outside of the mistake. He arguably had, I mean, let me look at his stats. It felt like he had more successful tackles than all the other players combined, honestly, to me at least. How many did he have? He won 3 out of 3 ground duels. Fair enough. Why do these apps not decide to show the same stats? Why do they show different stats? And tackles, well, 1 out of 1, so that one more. But at least he won 3 out of 3 ground duels. But yeah, I still have to give him a 0 because you just came on and you literally ruined it. Like you just come on, and you got Chilwell sent off essentially, which makes next week even more. Maybe Cucurella just wanted to make sure he gets to start a wing back next week. Maybe that was his plan. But
he did nearly set up Mount, to be fair, but he was pretty crap.
He did. Now you know what? I'm too harsh. 0 too harsh. I'll give him a 1. But yeah, the mistake was still bad. I see what he was doing. Like he was trying to do what he does and this aggressive thing, but you have 2 options. Either you foul him or you win the ball. You cannot let him pass the ball off and then run around you. If he runs around, you need to pull him back, take the yellow, do what you need to do. You cannot let him run around you and throw your teammate under the bus. You can't do that. You just cannot. But to be fair, I've never seen Cucurella attack as much as he did today when we were down to 10 men. I don't think I have. When he was sprinting forward and getting bodied by Militao, I'm like, I've never seen Cucurella even be this high up the pitch. But yeah, it was still a stinker for that mistake. Anyone want to say anything about that? I mean, we've obviously spoken about the red card in itself already, but Clutch, anything you want to say on Cucurella in that moment and overall?
Said it all. I mean, he had a really bad mistake. Other than that, he wasn't terrible, but
yeah, no, there you go. Pice, anything you want to say on what's his face, Cucurella?
I mean, not really. I think the being aggressive, like pushing out. I don't know whether that's just his style or whether he needs to be coaching to stop doing that because he does it a hell of a lot.
I mean, that's probably why we signed him for that attribute.
To be fair, I was reading some like tactical like thread on like his position as a left centre back, but I can't really explain it. I don't know that much ball, so maybe I'll send it to you and you can figure something out as to why he's so aggressive because it was about his aggressiveness. But yeah, essentially, as a left centre back, he was saying he plays like the system and the way of playing is actually so much different under like when he was at Brighton with Potter at the time, like it's actually changed. And even when he was with Potter here at Chelsea, like it's been different as well. So like here, essentially, we're playing him as a actual centre back, whereas apparently, even though he played left centre back at Brighton, it was more like a left backs kind of thing. So I don't know, but I'll send it to you later. But yeah, it was terrible from him tonight. I don't know what he was doing. It's so risky doing that as well because I think Koulibaly. Remember, I was having a go at him for weeks because when he was playing left centre back in a free, he was doing this all the time as well. But he'd just give the fouls away, and I was like, "Can you not just like step off and like, or if you're gonna like push an aggressive high press, can you like not anticipate it better? Like, it just seems like Cucurella sees the pass and just goes for it. Like, there's no thinking to it. That's what it seems like anyway. But yeah, I don't know.
Who are you looking at? I don't know who you're looking at.
What is Aaron's picture? Who is Aaron's picture?
The picture. Is that's
Victor Osimhen in a Chelsea
Osimhen in a Chelsea kit.
Osimhen, okay. I thought this looks like Malouda.
No, that's Victor Osimhen. Just airing out my wishes.
Hey, I mean, don't we all wish that? Don't Napoli wish he was fit? My God. All right.
He's gonna be back next week.
Yeah, thankfully. Anything you have to add on the Cucurella thing, bro, Aaron?
I don't know. 0. He made Chilwell. Well, he didn't make Chilwell have a bozo moment, but his error led to Chilwell's bozo moment. So just for that alone, you can hold the 0. I just think his aggressiveness at times it's good, but you need to know when to do it and when not to. You need to understand your opposition, and this was probably the worst opposition for him to try and be aggressive against.
Yeah, there you go. You know what? I'm going to give all the other subs an NA. We can talk about them if we want, but I'm going to give them all an NA. I mean, Havertz was up front on his own in a 10-man team that wasn't even trying to attack. And he did all right, to be honest. And Mount could have, on a bad day, got himself sent off because that was pure malicious intent to kick Carvajal in the leg, in the shin. Would have been a harsh red, but, you know, he was certainly flipping lucky to not get booked. And then nearly scored. So, you know, we can't give it a rating, but yeah, fair play that he scored. He tried harder than all the other lot. So did Havertz, to be fair.
The worst thing about it is Havertz looked better than Felix and Sterling combined, and he was up front by himself.
You're right. You're actually right.
If there were such things as time machines, I would clip that and then send it to you a day ago, and you would slap the hell out of me.
It's true.
But aren't all our players just better off the bench anyway? I feel like it feels like that for every one of our attackers. Like,
that's
then
like
when
all
they
our
start,
players are
they're
great
just
when we sign them. The longer they are with us, the worse they get. Do you know what I mean?
It's just like when they start, they're dog shit. When they come off the bench, they're actually decent. It just annoys me so much.
Yeah,
It always happens. I swear to God.
It does annoy me too. You know what? I'll put it with Kepa. Lampard. Let's finish it off. I want to round this one out. It's been an over 2 hour stream. I'm tired. I'm sad. Lampard. I understand the team he picked. I agree with the team he picked. I mean, other than, I'm not sure what I went for in the end yesterday, to be honest. I suggested the whole Sterling Felix thing just to be direct, but I was never sure about it. I think in the end I might have stuck with Havertz. I don't know. In hindsight, certainly Havertz would have been better, but would it have been better to an extent where it would have made us not lose 2-0? I don't think so. I don't think that would have made a difference. I guess he got unlucky, Frank, in the Koulibaly got injured, because if Koulibaly was on the pitch, Chilwell doesn't get sent off, and maybe we can at least keep it at 1-0 then. But now, because obviously the first sub was forced, I honestly want to give Lampard an NA, other than for not getting the players to try. The first sub was an injury. The second sub was, well,
We didn't have any tactics, man.
It was Havertz and Chalobah.
Yeah, no, Chalobah came on, but he came on with somebody else. I forgot who the other one was. Havertz and Chalobah came on
Mount
together.
and Connor came on together. The brothers came on together.
Yeah, no, exactly. And Chalobah was obviously because of Chilwell's red card. So, my God.
It's got to be a 0, surely. The guy had no tactics. We had no idea.
Yeah, no, it does, but I don't even think we saw what the tactics were. I don't think we can conclusively decide that we didn't have a game plan. I don't know what the game plan was, but I don't think we can conclusively say there wasn't one. Because when the players just don't try, I don't care.
The game plan was to hit him on the counter.
Whether you're Tuchel, whether you're Poz, I don't give a shit who you are. If the players don't try, you're fucked. Now, is it Lampard's job to get them to try? Sure. But do I think it is possible for a manager that the players know is here for 7 weeks to get a team to try? I don't know. I guess I give him a 0, but it's between a 0 and an NA for me, because, like, what can I say? Like, I mean, the subs weren't up to par, but, like, Koulibaly needs to come off. Okay, you can bring Chalobah on instead of Cucurella, but Cucurella, last time we played Champions League, he was man of the match. You know, when we played Dortmund at the Bridge, Cucurella was man of the match. So it's not like bring Cucurella on is the most ridiculous thing to ever do. Then the next thing, we had a red card. So, I mean, so, like, can you say so much about the subs? I don't know. My God. Do I? No, you know what? I don't want to give him a 0. I'll let you guys go first, and maybe I'll make my mind up then. Pies, for you, is a clear 0. How would you elaborate it?
No tactics, no game plan. Subs were too. I would have made a sub at half time. I don't know how we can change anything at half time. Maybe change the system. Maybe go 3-4-3 or something. I don't know.
Try it. Like, it's not like the midfield was doing anything.
Right,
so
isn't it? Like, we lacked we had no width, bro. This was half the problem with the 2 strikers, because we had no width. I just didn't understand it. And every time we did have some, we got caught in the break because James couldn't track back. So it's like, what the fuck? Obviously, he got it it looks like he got it wrong. You know, Havertz should have started. I think. You know, it looks like like you said, there was no outlet. Like, there was no person to hit the ball to. There's no person to drop deep. Like, he just got it completely wrong. It's a 0 for me. And the fact that, you know, I mean, I have to stay consistent. Like, if I saw this performance from Graham Potter, I would say, bro, like, you are not it. How can you, like, where's the motivation? Like, where's the fight and desire? And Lampard in charge, like, I'm just surprised he
Should
can't
we
get
bring
this
Potter
guy
back
going, man.
until the end of the season?
Bro, how's our best performance been under Bruno Salto? Like, I just don't understand. It makes no fucking sense. This makes me go back to, you know, like, the next managerial situation. Like, fucking hell, like, I like Nagelsmann, or Nagelsmann, however you pronounce it, but, like, are they going to take him seriously? Like, he's a young coach. Like, I don't fucking know, man. Like, it's just, it's peak. Like, no one can seem to motivate these guys, you know, like.
And we say this every year for the last 6 years. It's a completely different squad. So how is this even possible?
We lack leaders. We don't have a spine, and we need a manager that commands and respect, but does that through, like, tactics and performances as well. Because, like, I bet you half these guys, like, obviously respect Lampard, but they just think of his playing career. Like, why are they going to listen to him as a manager? Like, you know, I mean, it sounds bad, but it's the truth of modern football. Like, there'll be some people in there, like, you know, like, oh, fucking hell, like you said, like, he got sacked. Like, why is he coming back? Like, they probably concluded he's not a good manager anyway. So, like, it's just shit. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, there you go. I'm not sure it was, mate. We were 3-0 up here last year and we bottled it. I'm not quite sure we were rock hard all the time. In the Champions League winning season, we were. I'm not sure how often we were after that, if I'm honest. But, Aaron, Lampard, do you agree with the 0? Do you want to give him an A? How much of this is down to Frank today? How much of it is down to the players not trying? Or is the players not trying down to Frank?
He definitely deserves a 0. I think you're starting to see why I had reservations about bringing him back. It was supposedly to galvanize the team and bring the fans back together and, you know, all of this bullshit. And he's fucking arse, honestly. Like, 0 tactics, just vibes. We knew what we were getting into, but I didn't think it'd be this bad. It seems like he has no clue what the fuck he's doing. The players just didn't look like they gave a shit, but I don't think he motivates them. Not that they should need motivating. I think the hundreds of thousands a week they make should motivate them. But yeah, he doesn't look like he can motivate a team. I don't know really where we go from here. I think it's just gonna keep getting worse and worse and worse until we get a permanent manager in. I think he's so
Do
far
we at
out
this
of his...
point think Lampard wins even one game?
No,
Yes.
I genuinely think he could go on a fully...
know what's
He will win a game.
The most worrying thing is like, if this is the performance tonight in terms of, like, the mentality and the effort, like, and this is Real Madrid and it's the last thing we've got to play for, are we actually going to do, like, are we actually going to win another game in the Premier League? I don't know. Like, what? How can you tell me we are? Like, where's the motivation come from?
This is the thing that I'm saying. If you look at today, there was no motivation. The players didn't give a shit, and
it's the last thing. And you're at
bad.
Real Madrid. It's a huge game. You're at one of the biggest stadiums. Like, this is it. Like,
this was the only thing that we had left to play for, and they produced that on the weekend against Wolves. His first game, it was pretty similar. It was a load of shit. We done nothing the whole game. If we can't beat a team like Wolves, we're not going to beat a team like Madrid. If we can't beat a team like Wolves, what other team in the Premier League are we going to beat?
You think these guys are going to care about Brighton or Brentford or, like?
That's why we need to. I mean, apparently Chukwuemeka's injured, but that's why we need to play. Flipping Lewis Hall. Fofana's all right. He can keep playing, but
there is an honest possibility that we don't even make it to 40 points. There is a genuine possibility we do not make it to 40 points.
Nah, come on, we'll get a draw.
No. You're saying nah, come on. What evidence
I do say that with all my chest, I guarantee you we will get 40 points.
What evidence do we have to go off that we're going to get 40 points? What evidence do we have based on the 2 games that
we drew against Liverpool?
But not with Frank.
That wasn't him. That was Bruno.
Yeah. You do realize, like, Liverpool are really bad and we should have beat them, right?
Yes, but what evidence do you have based off what Lampard has done? Lampard has had 2 games and we have done piss all in both games. What makes you think we are going to win a single game?
At some
against
point, he's
any
just
of
going to
these
say
remaining
fuck it
teams?
all and just go balls to the wall.
Yeah,
And that's
where
what
are his
Lampard
balls?
does best anyway. So
I think he left his
I mean,
balls at home.
maybe we'll beat Arsenal. Mudryk scoring the winner. You know, we'll be happy.
He must have left
we'll
his
lose
balls at
4-0,
home with
won't we?
Christine because he done nothing these past 2 games to warrant and show that
Well,
he has
he
any.
told us he was watching Netflix when he got the call to be Chelsea manager.
Yeah, he definitely wasn't chilling because he hasn't got the balls for that, has he?
I mean, he has children, so you know, I don't know about that one, but
You don't know how they came with that.
Well, I don't know, but Clutch, finish it off.
Might have been
Lampard,
John
do you give it? Do you want to give it a 0 as well? Is there anything, you know?
yeah, it's a 0. Unlike everybody, I disagree. There was a plan. It was just a shit plan. That's it. It was just I can't in my head imagine thinking, well, we're gonna go back and we're gonna sit and absorb pressure from Madrid. Like it's never worked. It's never ever worked in
It's
the
what
history.
Real did on the weekend and won.
Well, yeah, they're terrible in the league right now. Have you seen them?
No, but they still went there, soaked up pressure, countered, and won.
But we're not Villarreal. We're
Exactly.
different.
We should be better at it. That's how we won the fucking Champions League in 2012. Do you know what I mean? We did the same thing to Barcelona. Barcelona is way better than Real Madrid at breaking teams down. Obviously, different team, different characters. I absolutely agree. But I don't think the sitting back was the issue. Because if we went for it, do you not think we would have just get slapped if we went for it?
I think we get slapped regardless. I just think the better way to go is to do that.
But we didn't get slapped. I genuinely think we would have held 4 or 5 if we try anything here.
Going 2 down in this tie, over, regardless.
Yeah.
You had to keep it at 1. You had to. And
Yeah,
as soon as we did do that,
I
it was
agree with
over.
this, but it's still better to go into next week 2-0 down than 5-0 down.
I
Or
don't know about that.
5-1 down.
I don't know about that.
You don't know about that?
I don't know about that. Because you're not going to catch Real Madrid. Like, they're going to go and just sit on a low block, and then we're not going to be able to do anything about it.
Oh, yeah. No, exactly that.
So, regardless, you had to catch them off guard at the beginning. That's what you had to do. And we just couldn't do it.
At the Bernabeu, bro. It's Real Madrid, man. It's Real Madrid. They live for this. Every time, you know, when they play Barcelona, they had way less possession. They were constantly getting peppered. And what happened? They beat them 4-0. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And Barcelona are currently miles better than we are. So, do you know what I mean? I don't know. But anyway, we give Frank that 0. Let's round it out. I did have a super chat earlier from Richard, which led on to what he was talking about before. Buying players for the sake of buying players. He continued with it. Sorry, Richard, that I only got to it now. I highlighted it, then I forgot. My apologies. He says, people not knowing what they're doing is what I was getting at when I said buy players to buy them. We have like 5 wingers, buy 3 more, yet don't play a single player style that uses wingers. Yeah. Now, obviously, we bought some of the wing. Number 1, Felix isn't a winger, but we bought the other ones because Sterling and Pulisic were injured. The problem is we bought both of them quite late in the window by the time they were halfway to being back already. And now all of them sit on the bench. So it's fucking amazing that. But yeah, Richard, you're a hero. Appreciate your super chat. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're still here, please do subscribe. Please do check out Pice's website, londonsfirst.com. So follow him on Twitter. Follow Clutch and Aaron on Twitter too. The links are down in the description. But yeah, upwards and onwards, ladies and gentlemen. What can we do? We go again next week. A miracle will be needed. A bigger miracle than we've potentially ever pulled off before. So do I have belief that we do this? Nope. Does that belief even hit 1%? No, we're probably talking 0.5. But
0.5 is generous.
It is. But, ever the optimist as I am, I have to.
I respect that about you.
No, thank you. Appreciate it. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. What should be our game plan next week? Madrid maybe sit back, give the ball to Enzo and Reece and just shoot from 30 yards and just shoot so often one will go in.
Every attacker on the book, we put him in. I don't care about defense.
the
Every attacker.
Chernobyl
I don't
Dan
care.
It's time for the Chernobyl Dan James to rise.
Exactly.
We're going to come out there with like a 7 front line.
Yeah. And Mudryk would have come on today. I mean, Lampard said it before the game that he would play a role, and he would have done without the red card and Koulibaly's injury. But yeah, I mean, maybe. To be honest, Dams makes a good point. Maybe Lampard should start himself and just shoot.
If
maybe that's our biggest likelihood of
then
getting a goal. Do you know what I mean? On the pitch, the players would probably respect him more than on the sideline. So, give him that give him that number 8 shirt. Sorry, cover. Give it back. Yeah. But what can I say? Ladies and gentlemen, like I said, please subscribe, hit the like button on your way out. I massively appreciate it. It's been a long one. It's 1:30 in the morning. One thing even though I'm sure the guys had a great day out until the game started, I'm glad I didn't put myself through the effort of going to Madrid. I didn't spend the money going to Madrid. My days. 10 mil for what? I don't know what you're talking about. But Czech ain't here anymore. Maybe Ashley Cole. We don't have a left back. Well, Cucurella, but not a serious one. So maybe Ashley Cole should start himself too. But yeah, there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for watching. Up to Chelsea, upwards and onwards. And we'll see you next time.